All right, welcome back. We are back from recess from last Wednesday, May 1st. Today is Monday, May 6th. This is the annual budget meeting for the RTM. Just to give some notes for the record, Representative Hanscom and Gardner notified that they'd be late joining the meeting. And just to preempt you, Representative Whitney will be departing shortly. So right now, if we can get the town clerk to do a roll call, please.
Sure. Perella's coming in late too.
Excuse me?
Perella.
Perella? Okay, thank you.
Well.
Understood.
Adams.
Here.
Bailey.
Here.
Burrell.
Here.
Casper.
Here.
Crockett Hubbard.
Nope.
Dean Shinbrock.
Here.
Dudden.
Here.
Fetters.
Nope.
Did she say? Okay. Fitzgerald.
Here.
Is Fetters here?
Fetters is not here.
Okay. Fritchie. Fox.
Here.
Gibbs.
Here.
Herbert. Caden.
Here.
Keeps. Luck. Massett.
Here.
McElroy.
Here.
Norman.
Here.
Aubrey. Perry. K. Powers.
Here.
S. Powers.
Here.
Pulaski.
Here.
Robertson. Omritz.
Here.
V.C. Williams. Here. Watson.
Here.
Wells. Whitney.
Here.
Watson.
Here.
21.
We got 21. I got 22. I got 22. Adams, Bailey,
Bailey.
Burrill, Casper, Dean Shinbrock, Dudden, Fitzgerald.
Fox.
No, I think I got the Fritchie one wrong. Fox, Gibbs, Cadden, Massett, McElroy, Norman, Powers, Pulaski, Umritz, V.C. Williams, Watson, Whitney, Amboise.
Richie is on.
He is. He didn't check in. So
I'm here.
okay, Roger that.
You didn't call my name, actually.
We did.
Yeah, we did. You didn't respond. Thank you. Fritchie is here, so we do have 22.
So that makes it
Okay,
22.
so there's 22 members present, so there's a quorum. Again, just to let you all know that Representative, let me get the, Mead had submitted a resignation today, so we will be filling that seat at Monday's regular RTM meeting. We also have a caucus for District 4. Wednesday. What did I say? Monday. Oh, I wish it was Wednesday. But it's Monday today, so we're going to have 3 caucuses scheduled. We're going to have one for District 4, so if you're a District 4 member, please show up earlier than your regular scheduled meeting. We're also going to have one for District 5, and we're also going to have one for District 6. So if you're in those districts, please show up so that we can seat the new membership. We need at least half of the members of those districts in order to declare a quorum so we can get them seated ASAP. Also, just to be advised, this Wednesday is our second Wednesday of the month, so there is our regular meeting. However, we're going to make it an abbreviated meeting so that we can get to the budget business. So there's not going to be the town manager's report or the superintendent's report. We've kept it very abbreviated so we can get right to the business. But I did want to allow that opportunity for the public to speak on the budget if they wish to do so. Sound good? All right. Any other housekeeping items, Town Clerk? I think we're good, right?
We're good.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to, I'm going to recognize Representative Casper, who is the chairman of Community Development and Services, and we're going to be dealing with the first four accounts, if you could just give us the information on the first four accounts, 1092, 1001, 1006, and 1010, and we'll accept the minutes of that part, and then we'll move over to finance after that, please. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yes.
You don't have a copy of them, do you? No, okay. Please stand by. Representative Powers, before we get started on these minutes, go ahead, Representative Powers, do you have something?
Just to clarify, he's reading his minutes and we're not voting on the categories, is that correct?
No,
On the accounts?
we're gonna, what I'm asking him to do is if he can give us the next four accounts, okay? Fire district pilot,
Okay.
legislative policy, legal services, and executive management. So if he can do that, we'll approve the
Those
minutes as
minutes?
presented, just like we did with
Thank you.
Rep. Whitney's, and then we'll go on to your accounts.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Representative Casper, you have the floor.
Thank you. A special meeting of the RTM Community Development and Services Committee, April 22nd, 2024. Present Chair Clarence Casper, Representative Sheila Perry, Bill Keep. Representative Sarah Cadden was excused. John Burt, Town Manager. Jennifer Mealy, Library Director. Sean Greeley, GTTV. March Fondalis, Director of Human Services via Zoom. Meeting was called to order by Chairman Casper at 6:25. First item account, 1092 Fire District Pilot. Manager Burt explained as a result of years of requests by the town fire departments for a more fair distribution of the funds that approximately 50% of the state's pilot program in lieu of payment in lieu of taxes is going to various town fire departments via a new town council and their public safety committee derived formula. This increased payment should reduce the taxes levied by the fire district on their residents. Representative Sheila Perry motioned, seconded by Representative Bill Keep, the amount of $948,963 for Fire District's pilot account 1092. Vote was unanimous for approval with no further discussion. Next item, account 1001, legislative policy. Manager Burt explained last year's increase was a one-time event payment, and this year's total, $33,500, is for the CCM. A motion of $42,650 was made by Representative Keep, seconded by Representative Perry. No further discussion. Vote was unanimous for the motion. Next item, account 1006, legal services. Manager Burt explained at his suggestion the request was cut $27,000 to $450,000. Representative Perry motioned $450,000, second by Representative Keep. Vote was unanimous for the motion. Next item, account 1010, executive management. Manager Burt explained council cut $6,100 at his suggestion, which were $500 for professional development for himself, and he waived any salary increase for the year to set an example. Representative Keep motioned $352,394, second by Representative Perry. Motion passed unanimously. Manager Burt left the meeting. Next item.
Okay,
Oh,
so.
we're stopping there?
Yeah, if we could just stop there.
Okay.
And if you can entertain a motion to the minutes as presented, please.
I make a motion that the minutes be accepted as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Casper, seconded by Powers S. Is there any discussion on the minutes as presented? All right, very well. We're going to move along. All those in favor of acceptance of the minutes as presented by Chairman Casper, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions. Okay, that motion carries unanimously. 22 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. Okay, so Chairman Casper, hold on. You're not done yet, sir. If it was only that easy. Okay, so if we could start with your first item of 1092, please.
Okay,
Fire District Pilot.
yep, I got to backtrack here. Okay, I will move for account 1092 Fire District Pilot, the sum of $948,963.
Okay, motion was moved and seconded for account 1092 Fire District Pilot, seconded by Powers S. I open up discussion on this agenda item, or this account. Is there anything that you would like to speak to? Representative Powers S., you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Can we just get a brief explanation as to why the account balance changed so much from Manager Burt, please?
Sure. Since before my time, well, first of all, a little background. The town receives payment in lieu of tax dollars from the state. Because there's state properties, we don't receive tax. They offset some of it to the town. The city and Pequannock Bridge Fire Departments get some, but not a lot. The others don't get any pilot dollars. So since long before I got here, there's been a cost sharing of those monies received with the fire departments. Now, for probably 10 years or more, it was set at, you'll see there's two categories on page 186. One's for the state property. Up until 23, that was set long-term at $121,000 just, and over the years, now and then, the town and fire departments have looked at different ways of changing that formula. They never got anywhere up to recently. And then for our own town taxes, we provide $125,000 to the fire department just to offset some of our own property. So we've been, like I said, kicking this around since long before I've been here, and it's been pretty much nonstop since I've been here. In 24, for this current year, I started upping it, and the council's already talking about trying to get some sort of policy in place. That policy, working with through the Public Safety Committee, then to the Town Council, working with fire departments, we did arrive at a policy that was adopted. I think it was October of 23. Now, what it does is we receive, it changes from year to year, but lately it's been about $1.5 million the town receives for pilot dollars. That's divided up 50% with the fire departments, and then there's quite a formula to break out where the money goes to from there. That policy is on our website under just under government policies, but that's led to the current amount, and so basically it's just half of the state dollars, plus we continue to give $125,000 for our own properties, so that's where those funds come from. And basically a policy well over 10 years in the making. So.
Is there any other discussion on this item on the floor?
Could I ask if possible that Mr. Byrd turns on his microphone?
Oh, it's,
Because we hardly could hear anything.
okay, I'll get closer.
Representative Fritchie, it is on. He'll just jam it up into his mouth, okay? Just so we can all hear. I'll do
Sorry
that.
about
I'll do
that.
the same as well. Just to note for the record, 750 Representative Wells is in attendance. So we have 23 members. Welcome back, sir. Is there any other discussion on item 1092 Fire District Pilot? Very well, I'll call for a vote on account 1092 Fire District Pilot. The amount is $948,963. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? I think, Bailey, you had your hand up for the yeses, okay. Any abstentions? All right, that motion passes unanimously, 23 in favor, no opposed, no abstentions. Chair Casper, can you go to account 1001, please?
Yes. I move for account 1001, legislative policy, the amount of $42,650.
The amount was moved by Chair Casper, seconded by Powers S. On account 1001, legislative policy, the amount is $42,650. I open up the floor for discussion. Just to be clear, this was the amount that was approved by the town manager, council, and RTM committee. Representative Whitney?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. I was wondering about the Jabez Smith House. I was wondering if that's currently open to the public.
Not on a regular basis. However, there's been a couple library programs. Now, part of what we're required to do is maintain it. And actually, we had some family members, descendants in the area, point out some things that needed to be done, so we're doing those. So part of the agreement is, you may not know this, but the land that's on was also where El Grasso Gardens, the Groton Ambulance, was all one piece. And without maintaining that, the whole thing's subject to reverter clause. So, but we are trying to figure out how to better utilize it. But there has been a couple of programs lately. So thank you, library.
Any other further discussion on account 1001, legislative policy? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on account 10. Yes?
Hanscom and Gardner, right? So we have 25.
Okay, all right, so just to be noted for the record, at 7:53, we have Representative Hanscom and Gardner in attendance, so we're at 25 members total. Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote on account 1001, legislative policy, in the amount of $42,650. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Opposed? Abstentions? Very well, the account 1001 passes unanimously, 25 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Chairman Casper, if you can go to item 1006, legal services, please.
I'll just make a point of order. I'm going to leave in person. I'll join online and then for the next 15 minutes. Okay. So I'm leaving now, but I'll join online.
All right, sounds good. We'll be looking for your rectangle on the screen, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Just make a note for record. We're now down to 24 again, but we'll soon be back to 25. It's a wild world we live in, people, okay?
Okay. For account 1006, legal services, I move the amount of $450,000.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that second. Thank you, Representative Adams. Motion was made by Chair Casper, seconded by Representative Adams for account 1006. The main motion on the floor is $450,000 for legal services. I open up the floor for discussion on this. Okay, very well. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on account 1006, legal services for $450,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? Okay, that motion carries unanimously in a vote of 24 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. See, I caught that. I was going to about say 25. All right, smarter than the average bear. All right. All right, so Chair Casper, if you could finish off with the last account, 1010, please.
Okay. For account 1010, executive management, I make a motion for $352,394.
Oh, I was 350, sorry.
No, no.
352,
394.
352, 394. Oh, man. I want to cut it like that.
Yeah, please don't.
Sorry, I need to upgrade here. 394, sorry, guys.
That's what happens when your servers are in the cloud.
Point well taken, sir. All right, so again, this is account 1010, executive management. The main motion on the floor is $352,394. This was approved by committee, was approved by the town council as well. Is there any other discussion on this account? Representative Massett, you have the floor.
It's really not for discussion, but I would like to thank Town Manager Burt.
Okay. Any other discussion? Yes, Representative Powers S. See if you can just put the mic on.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The cut was from what? I'd like to know.
$500 for professional training and $52.20 for salary.
And whose salary was it?
Mine.
Well, I'd like to restore the original number.
Okay, if you could just put that out. The number is in the,
$358,514.
Second.
okay, the motion is moved and seconded for a first amended figure on the floor of 358,514. Yes, you have the floor.
All right, two things. One, appreciate it, but I just want to make it clear, I fully support all cuts by the town council because I do care about the mill rate and getting it down. And even if restored, because the salary's been changed at the town council level, they would have to do something. It would just be extra money at this point anyways, so.
All right, so again, you have the floor, Representative Powers, if you wanted to speak to your motion besides that.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So in other words, Manager Burt, this would complicate things by putting the number back to its original number. Is that what you're saying? We need a 2/3 vote to bring it back to that number anyway. Is that correct?
Correct. And again,
You support the
I fully
cut?
support, yes, the changes that the council made.
Okay, I'll withdraw my motion then.
I withdraw my second.
Okay, so the motion is, the motion has been withdrawn, so back to the erasing I go. Before that happened, though, I guess I wanted to get clarification on how it is, so if we had restored this account with a 2/3 majority, which is 17 members present, it wouldn't actually go to your account?
It would go to the account. It wouldn't go to my pay automatically unless the council took some further action.
Okay. And what kind of action would that entail?
A simple vote.
Okay. And again, would that have to be on an agenda item or something like that?
Yes.
And how difficult is that to have happen?
And honestly, they could do that regardless whether this part's in there or not, but not that I'm saying I want that, but.
Okay.
I would like to see the RTM maintain all cuts by the council and keep that going. I think once you start sliding, it's easy to keep sliding on restoring.
Okay, understand. I appreciate your information on this. Very well. Okay, so we're back to the main motion on the floor. Account item 1010, $352,394. Is there any discussion on this motion on the floor? All right, I am going to call for a vote on account 1010, executive management, in the amount of $352,394. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. Aye. Representative Bailey was a no, and I am a no. Any abstentions? Okay, that motion passes. 23 in favor, 2 opposed. Oh, excuse me, because he is not, oh, he is on. Yes, all right.
He's on.
We got him back. All right, 23 in favor, 2 opposed, 0 abstentions. All right, Chair Casper, I'm going to have you go back to the bullpen, and then you're going to come back in a little while. I'm going to recognize Chair S. Powers, who is the Chair of the Finance Committee. You were going to go over an oodle of stuff.
It's all backwards in my notes, so.
Oh, boy.
you gotta bear with me, okay?
Okay, and I know there's one that kind of got caught in the mix with police. CIP 7, technology, municipal parking solution software.
Yes.
So if you could just run through all those, I'm going to go out of order, guys, just to let you know, so that we can get all of these items from finance taken care of while Chair Powers is on the floor, and then we're going to work on those first, okay? Thank you so
Okay.
much.
We had 2 meetings. The first one was April 22nd, 2024. Began at 7 p.m. Chairman Powers was there, Representatives Fritchie, Dean Shinbrut, Gardner, Norman, Pulaski, and Umris. We went right to new business, and we're going to review 1010 on page 70, information technology. Now, bear with me, I got to find 1010 in my notes, okay?
1010 is my budget.
Huh?
Yeah, it's 10, it's 10, 1,
1011, I'm
Yep.
sorry. 1011. Yeah. $10.05. Yeah. 1011, information technology. Chairman Powers moved $1,331,909. It was seconded by Representative Pulaski. The director explained the operating expenses and licensing costs of software fees are increasing annually as contracts come due, the overall status of the IT renewal and long-term approach, and how it impacts these budget items was discussed. Personal development increases and common trends in security training. The committee asked if we share any IT with the school systems, and we do not. The next series of questions involved the server systems, the cost involved, and why we continue to store certain data the way we do, the fee services versus a GIS, which is all complicated, and Representative Norman will be speaking at this as we go forward. Question was brought out about the copper lines and the different utilities that bring us the service. Chairman Powers asked for a vote, 7 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. So that motion moved. I'd like to move $1,331,909.
Second.
Second was Adams. Okay, so motion was made by Chair Powers, seconded by Adams for the amount of $1,331,909.
Thank you, sir.
Sir. I love it. I got my approval team right over here. So I don't mess up. Spell check ×3. It's great. All right, so the main motion for information technology account 1011, $1,331,909. This was the amount that was recommended by the town manager. This was approved by the town council and also passed our committee. I open up the floor for discussion. Representative Norman.
Hi, 2 quick questions. Can you take me through the increases in the software fees and what in particular, what softwares drove those increases, as well as trying to break out how much you spend on GIS? And secondarily, you have a line item in there around professional services and things like that at $41,685, but you also have a CIP for professional training at $50,000. And what's the difference on those things, and why do you need both?
And if you just don't mind, there's some new people here. If you can just introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Director Jason Main.
Thank you.
Okay, related to the software increases. Let's see here. Most of these increases were just driven by regular yearly increases that, for the renewals that the vendors sent. We did discuss this with several other municipalities in Connecticut to see if it was standard and in line with what they were seeing, and that was the case.
I believe Rep. Norman had a question about the
Yeah.
professional services, the line item in there, as well as the CIP, and how do they differ?
How do they differ? And I'd say spend on GIS as well as like, were there, I know you said it was in line with other towns, but can you give us a little more color on sorry, there's some feedback, on what softwares might have been driving those increases?
Let me see here. I'm sorry, there's quite a few, so I'm just going to go down the list here. I believe the biggest increases that we saw were not related to GIS. GIS was an increase of right around $3,000.
And so what's GIS at now? If it's at, you said it was an increase of 30,000. I mean, you only have an overall increase of 60,000 on that line item, so that would be half of it.
3,000.
Oh, 3,000.
Sorry.
Okay, great. That's much better.
And I believe that puts us at, for the GIS renewal, is $18,799.
Okay.
Let's see, and as far as the GIS software, I'm sorry, the increase was to $21,995 from $18,799. It was a 16% increase. That increase represented just under 6% of the operating budget increase that was requested, and 4.4% of the total budget increase.
Okay. And were there other softwares that were particularly large increases?
There was Nagios, which is the software that we use for monitoring of the entire network. Did raise quite considerably. It was a 37% increase. We are looking for other alternatives to that, but because it's in place and the amount of work to shift that to another service, we have to investigate whether or not that would be a true cost savings. I believe those were the two largest increases. The rest of them were pretty much the same across the board.
Looking at a substantial list of things.
We did upgrade the town's Chronos time clocks, and the lease for those was $18,740 for the year. So I believe that was an increase in there as well. And I'm sorry, what was the line item that you had asked about?
The other thing I was wondering about in here, it looks like from reading it in professional services and training, you had the 41,685, but then you also have a CIP for $50,000 for training, and so I'm just wondering why you need both and what the difference is between those two items.
I believe the CIP is for the enterprise resource planning. Is that the one that you're referring to, the 7B?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so the majority of that CIP, the request is actually for the enterprise resource planning modules that we would transition over to. The $50,000 is for the licensing for those. It would also be for the lifting of the lifting and migration of the data from the current solution over to that new module, and the training portion of it is really just to train the users who would be using that new service on how to use it as opposed to the one that they're currently using.
And so this is from the 2015 master plan, and so you need 50,000 now for migration, not like 10 years later? Sorry, I'm just...
I think that, and you'll have to forgive me, this is a lot of this was done before I got here.
Fine.
Just get my notes on that. So that entire plan was for Tyler software. There's quite a few different modules that are encompassed in that. Only some of them we're using. One of the modules that we'd be migrating to is,
Nothing.
sorry?
Oh, nothing. I said bless you.
Oh, sorry. As a payroll service with employee self-service. Currently, the town's using pentimation software, which is heading towards end of life in the next 2 years. So that's, that was part of the plan in 2015, the long-term plan, that has not been rolled out as yet.
Okay, so just to, I'm gonna repeat it back to you, tell me how we're doing. So the 41.6 is actual training for your department. The 50 on the CIP is different because that is largely, that one, is that 100% for the payroll, you said it was payroll? The
Payroll
Tyler,
with employee self-service.
okay, so
believe-
it's your employee self-serve for those modules, and it's the purchasing of the module for the first time from this software, from a plan, that plan from 10 years ago.
I believe it includes the price of the software licensing, the first year of maintenance. There is training involved with that that's included, as well as planning to move the data from the current solution over to the new solution. It's not broken down into line items, but it's kind of all included in that quote that we have.
Got it, okay.
And the line item that you referred to, I believe it's 41,000. Can you tell me what page that's on? Sorry.
Just to let everybody know, we have 24 members present right now, so we lost one, so.
72. Yeah, so it's right up there. 41,685.
And just to make sure that everybody is, we're on 1011, and we're on page 70 in our big books. So if you don't know where we are, this is where what we're discussing right now.
All right, my apologies, it's not notated, I think it got cut off, but that's actually professional technical services rather than training. So that would be outside vendors that would come in to assist with any of the technical issues that we're not able to handle internally. So I know, for instance, we have a plotter in GIS that I believe we have a professional come out to service and maintain, and that would be incorporated in that.
All set, Rep. Norman? Roger that. All right, Representative Dutton, you have the floor.
Super quick question, sir.
You could just use the microphone, please. Thank you.
With all due respect, super quick question, cost center 7, landlines for faxes. Does anybody still fax? And I'm just asking, no, and I mean that, is that something we could project into the future to maybe cut?
I think the answer to your first question is, I believe, yes, they do still fax. I don't, I prefer email, but there is still a need for fax. I do think that we could work to phase that out, especially with our voice over IP service, but that is still in place and in use.
Thank you. I'm a historian, I love paper.
That's a great question.
Is there any other discussion for account 1011, information technology? Yes, Representative Wells, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is probably a question I should have asked last year, but these linger in my mind after the meetings, so I'm going to toss it out to you. I was under the impression that the state of Connecticut maintained off-site backup files in Massachusetts and in Groton. So I'm wondering if we've ever looked into using local resources. That's all. Thank you.
I'm not aware of.
The state backs up some of their materials at the Pfizer campus with their own servers there. They don't allow others on it, but, so that wouldn't itself be a solution for us.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on this item, 1011, information technology, before I call a vote? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on information technology, account 1011. Main motion on the floor is $1,331,909. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. And are there any abstentions? All right, that motion passes unanimously, 24 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Thank you so much, Mr. Main. I think we're going to need you for a couple other CIPs in the future since we just found
Thank you,
those.
sir.
But we're going to press on. Chair S. Powers, if you can go on to 6050.
Yep, 6050, Technology Replacement Fund. IT Director Main was present for this. Chairman Powers moved $82,515. It was Representative Dean Shimbrough that seconded it. This is for screens and printers and workstations and all the peripherals stations around the town. This is part of the 5-year replacement package schedule with screens and printers. A little bit different timetable for all the stuff, which is how it was explained to us. The committee agreed that was a need in order to continue productivity and not lose time with our staff. Chairman Powers called for a vote, 7 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. So moved. $82,515.
Okay, motion has been moved by Chair Powers, seconded by Massett. $82,515 for account 6050. Just so that we're all on the same page, 64 in your big book. Nobody's checking me this time. Guess I had it right. Okay, just to give us some clarification here, this was the town manager's number, passed by the town council and passed by our RTM committee. I open up the floor for discussion on this. Very well, seeing no hands, I'm going to call for a vote on 6050, technology replacement in the amount of $82,515. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say no. There any abstentions? Okay, that passes unanimously, 24 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Okay, if we can truck along to these CIPs, and you can give the discussion on those, thank you.
CIP 7, Technology, is found on page 244, 246. We were with IT Director Main. What we did is we discussed all three at the same time before we made a motion to vote on everything. So, Director Main discussed all three sections, A, B, and D. These items are for infrastructure, including server storage, network equipment, licensing, and those types of resources that he needs to do his job. Resource planning, the move of the Tyler software was discussed. Training in section B was also explained, the different types. The town and the company employee had some attrition going on, so this stuff wasn't taken care of right away, so he fell into quite an array of things going forward. Section D was about the security firewall, talked about the grant funding, was not offered by the state this time. The committee asked on a variety of items, such as server hardware and backup. Representative Norman, who's very skilled in this field, was quite helpful in discussing all of those technical issues that not everybody understands, but they did a great job. We talked about the cloud systems, the cost differential, the perpetual licensing fees in comparison to monthly fees, the renewal of licenses, as when we should change the backup systems was discussed. It was a long discussion. The savings and costs were discussed. We all have more debate at this time, I'm sure, about the CIP proposals. Systems audit was discussed, and security insurance was also, and ransomware was also discussed. So it was quite a variety of things. Chairman Powers moved $135,000. It was seconded by Representative Pulaski. Chairman Powers asked for a vote. It was 6 in favor, 1 opposed. Representative Norman, no abstentions, so it passed. So I move $135,000 for Section A of this 7A, Information Technology Infrastructure.
Okay, a motion has been made for CIP 7A, Information Technology Infrastructure. The amount is $135,000. And again, thank you, Chair Powers, for giving discussion on that. And just to be clear that this was adopted by the council and approved in committee for the $135,000. I open up the floor for discussion on this CIP. Just to let you know, it's in 244, page 244 of the big book. Yes, Representative Norman.
Hi, I'd like to move a new number. I'd like to move $0 on this one. I like the other ones.
Okay, before we move on, we just need a second for that. Okay, moved, motion, First Amendment figure on the floor for CIP 7A, 0, seconded by Adams, made by Norman. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Yeah, I believe, and we had a lot of discussion about what the right path forward is for our town and how we store information, the costs associated with that, et cetera. The hardware that we are continuing to invest in is very old systems that do not service us well, that also exist in the basement of buildings that are likely to flood. And I would like to pause this year where we have a lot going on and take a step back and say, what is the right thing to do? So I may be in support of funding this in the future, but I would love to take a step back and think through, is this where we want to store, how we want to store, what we want to do for the town? Is it the right way to spend our money going forward? And I don't want to throw more money at it until we know that answer.
If I could ask Mr. Main or Mr. Burt, what kind of plan or assessment would need to be done in order to fulfill the request of what Ms. Norman is bringing up? How long would it take? And then who would be eventually the group that would provide the procedure moving forward with all these things in mind?
Yes, I can address that.
Thank you.
I think that would have a catastrophic impact on the town as things stand right now. The fact of the matter is we do have infrastructure in place for services that have to remain on site and cannot be serviced by the cloud. Those are broken into a couple different categories here. The first would be emergency services. We require on this on-premise infrastructure to support our computer-aided dispatch program. This program is used for the dispatching of not only the police department, but several fire departments, ambulance corps, and the Yale L&M paramedics. If this service were cloud hosted and we were to experience an interruption in internet, or the interruption, or the possible downtime that's outlined in the SLAs of most of the common cloud service providers, it would be catastrophic. We would not have the ability to effectively dispatch our emergency services. And according to the SLAs of the cloud service providers, that interruption could be anywhere between 53 minutes and just under 9 hours per year that these services would be down. Our Tyler ERP services that we've been talking about quite a bit, this is referring to the services that are in place. We've done some cost gathering on that, and to shift to a cloud-based service for Tyler ERP services, we would have to move to a software as a service environment. It would cost us $9,500 to shift over to that service, and $190,000 per year following that, which is about $90,000 more than we're spending on our current licensing for those services. And again, that's just for the Tyler ERP services. To lift and shift the infrastructure that we do have in place right now to a cloud-based service, for those services that we could effectively do that, we're looking at costs upwards of $195,000 a year, which would far exceed the CIP funds that we've been requesting. And this figure does not include costs that would be associated with data flow, which is the data that travels back and forth for various services, that can result in overages to that. But that $195,000 per year is just the base cost that we've worked out. So it would be vastly more expensive to move these services to the cloud that we can.
Can you share more of that? And can you say more on most, I think dispatch and those pieces are a small fraction of what you have on servers right now, right? Like you have all the entire town backup and all of that and tapes and all of that. Can you talk a little bit why the rest of those things and where other municipalities have all continued to move towards that as cost-saving other measures, why that is not appropriate for Groton for things like records and pieces like that that don't have to do with dispatch, but is actually sort of colder storage, like that records we want to maintain, because these server pieces, I don't assume, and tell me if I'm wrong, but these server upgrades, the hardware pieces are not just for dispatch, but they're for all of the servers that service like general storage as well. Like rather, there's two pieces there.
Sure. Yeah, actually, so the town right now, we have around 42 different services, major services, not including some of the smaller stuff. And I should mention that as of right now, 11 of those services are in the cloud, because when those come up for renewal, it made more sense to put those in the cloud. It was more cost effective, and it was just a better solution for the town in general. The other services that reside on these, and they're virtual servers, and most of this infrastructure is, there's redundant storage devices that support these virtual servers. Looking down the list, I would say the biggest group of those would be our ERP services, because of the licensing that we have, the license agreement that they offer. To put those in the cloud, we wouldn't be able to stand those up on just any hosted solution. We would have to go with software as a service, and that would be a much higher cost. As far as, this is something that came up at a recent GMIS meeting, which is an International Association of Government IT Leaders. We attend local chapter meetings for Connecticut, and in the last meeting, this was just a few weeks ago, this topic came up, and out of the, I would say, 25 towns that were represented in the meeting, only one or two have shifted to the cloud because of this. But I think that the big determination really is that some towns do not, it does not include the police department and emergency services and dispatch. That in a lot of cases, the police department will have their own IT department, and I think that's one of the big determinations. I can't speak for all towns, but other towns may not be using the same ERP services. They may be in a different situation there. But what I can say is, from everything that we've seen, for our environment here, it really doesn't make sense financially or otherwise. We do have redundancy. We have storage devices that talk to each other and synchronize in real time in multiple locations, so that if any one location is flooded or any other catastrophic incident happens at that location, our operations continue. And at this time, even if we lost internet connections at any one of the buildings, all of the locations are connected by dark fiber, and which is soon to be redundant dark fiber, that allows the operations to continue even without the internet.
Right, which is, I mean, but the redundant dark fiber, that's another 300,000 next year. I'm not, to be clear, I'm not saying that everything has to move to the cloud, but I think where you had 42 services, what I'm looking for is a plan that actually evaluates each of those 42. I think that you sort of picked the ones that would be the absolute hardest and most expensive, and I think that there's 25 in between that probably would save the town a reasonable amount of money and allow us to, like, you know, retire some of those servers. And because a lot of that data storage, not dispatch, but data storage, is sitting in these basements, and we're having to keep updating them. And so what I'm going to leave it there. We can vote whatever can happen there, but I just want to push us to think really hard about this to make sure that across those 42 services, we are not getting caught up in perpetual licenses and not getting caught up in this is how we've done it for 30 years, so we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep saving things on tape that can very cheaply go on the cloud. I hear you on dispatch. Like, I want people to get their emergency services, but some of this other stuff, I want us to be really thoughtful about what needs to happen.
I would agree, and I can't speak for, you know, people before me, but from what I've seen, I think that is something that when each one of these services comes up for renewal, you know, I think we look at all of our options to make sure that we're getting the best value for the citizens of Groton.
All right, is there any other discussion on the first amended figure for CIP 7A at 0? Yes, Chair Powers.
I'd really like to thank Representative Norman and Director Main, because we had learned so much in just our committee, and I'm not really astute when it comes to this type of understanding, and it's been well put out. Let's put it this way, it's been well discussed. I do want everyone to realize that this is a CIP and it's moving forward, and if we look at the following year's CIP, it actually talks about the town going to the Microsoft Office cloud and the redundant fiber infrastructure. If we look at our CIPs, I really think that this is going to help move us in the direction that the both of you were talking. So I'll be voting for the main number. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on the first amended figure on the floor? All right, I'm going to call a vote on the first amended figure for 7A, CIP, Information Technology Infrastructure. The amount is 0. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm going to have, unfortunately, we're in the position of roll call votes right now because we have a mixed bag here. So I'll leave it up to you, Ms. Melendez.
Adams? Yes. Bailey?
This is for 0?
Correct.
No.
Burrell?
No.
Casper?
No.
Crockett Hubbard?
She's not here.
Oh, sorry. Dinshenbrock?
Yep.
Dudden?
No, it's just perfect right now. Thank you.
Fetters?
Not here.
Oh, my goodness. Fitzgerald?
No.
Ritchie?
No.
Fritchie, that was a no? I heard no.
Fox?
No.
Gardner?
Yes.
Gibbs?
No.
Hanscom?
Abstain.
Herbert?
She's not here.
Not here. Kaden? Yes. Keeps?
Not here.
Ivy Markham, sorry.
Luck's not here.
Luck is not here.
Nope.
Massett? No. McElroy? No. Norman? Yes. Aubrey's not here. Perella's not here. Perry?
Not here.
She's not here. Kay Powers?
No.
S. Powers,
No.
Pulaski. No. Robertson,
Not here.
not here. Reitz,
No.
V.C. Williams,
No.
Watson,
No.
Wells,
No.
Whitney's not here, and Ambo.
No. I got 19.
I got
4,
4, 19, 1.
Yes.
It fails.
All right, the motion for 0 fails, 4 in favor, 19 opposed, 1 abstention. That brings us back to the main motion on the floor of $135,000. Is there any other discussion on this CIP 7A, Information Technology Infrastructure? If I just can ask whoever's got a phone buzzing and chime in, can we shut that thing down, please? Thank you. All right, I'm going to call a vote on 7A, Information Technology Infrastructure, CIP 7A, $135,000. I think we're going to go for a roll call vote again, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Adams. Bailey.
Yes.
Burrell.
Yes.
Casper.
Yes.
Dinshinbra.
Yes.
Dutton.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Fritchie.
Yes.
Fox.
Yes.
Gardner.
No.
Gibbs.
Yes.
Hanscom.
Yes.
Caden.
Yes.
Massett.
Yes.
McElroy.
Yes.
Norman. K. Powers.
Yes.
S. Powers.
Yes.
Pulaski. Pulaski.
Yes.
Robertson is not here.
Umrus.
Amris.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Wells.
Yes.
And Ambo.
Did you get VZ Williams? You forgot VZ Williams?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, so
sorry.
19, 20. And Amboise is a yes. 21-1-1?
21-1. Yes.
21-1.
21-1-1.
Okay, 7A, $135,000 for CIP, Information Technology Infrastructure passes. 21 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 abstention. Thank you.
Next on the list was Enterprises Resources Planning. It was on page 245. Chairman Powers moved 50,000, seconded by Representative Dean Shinbrut. The training, the need for upgrades on existing new software was discussed. We had discussed some different things about payroll, employment, the health services, a different number of people in the department that have to get trained, the launch dates changing, and some data backup stuff as far as, all of the different things we've discussed earlier here for this. Chairman Powers asked for a vote. 6 were in favor, 1 was opposed. Representative Norman, no abstentions. We move $50,000.
Second.
Okay, motion for 7B, Enterprise Resource Planning, moved by S. Powers, seconded by Massett, $50,000. All right, I'm just trying to get a proper count because I feel like we got somebody new on the screen that I didn't see before, so. All right, we still got a good count, 24. For you guys who don't know, I work at a prison. So we've got to count at least 8 times a day. So I got to do it at least once, so if not twice, if somebody doesn't carry a 1. So I just got to keep that going. Okay, so I open up the floor for discussion on item 7B, CIP, $50,000 for enterprise resource planning. I open up the floor for discussion. Very well. Seeing none, I'm going to call for a vote on 7B CIP Enterprise Resource Planning in the amount of $50,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. 24 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. Thank you. We got one more to go.
Yep, one last one. IT security was found on page 246. Chairman Powers moved 73,000, seconded by Representative Norman. The discussion was about the Public Safety Master Plan, Recovery and Disaster Plan. Chairman Powers asked for a vote. 7 were in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. I so move $73,000.
Okay, motion to move by Powers S, seconded by Massett for $70,000, is that correct?
73,000.
73,000, sorry.
Thank you.
All right, I open up discussion for CIP 7D IT security. Any discussion on the main motion on the floor? Seeing none, I'm going to call for a vote on 7D, 7-D, CIP, IT security. All those in favor of the 73,000 main motion on the floor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? All right. That motion carries unanimously, 24 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Now, Chair Powers, we had one more that fell into finance, is that correct, or do we? Oh, no, we still got other.
Yeah, we have other business. We have,
Okay.
Human Resources is up next.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, back to the drawing board.
Thank you, Director May.
Thank you, Mr. Maine. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Besides on the screen. Sure we'll be talking again.
All right, if you wanted to discuss your meeting minutes for account 1012.
Meeting minutes for account 1012, Human Resources. Director Green was with us. A motion was made by Representative Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Representative Gardner to move $494,788. Director Green viewed the cost centers for the committee and the increases in salaries, the union arbitrations, background screening, licensing verifications, and the committee asked about how many union and non-union employees were in her department, I believe, and I think she said none. How did that go?
No union.
No union. Okay. So Chairman Powers asked for a vote, 7 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstention. I so move $494,788.
All right, motion has been moved and seconded for account 1012, Human Resources, $494,788.
Correct.
All right, so this account is in page 78 in the big book. This is the number that was recommended by the town manager, approved by the town council, and confirmed by the RTM Finance Committee. I open up the floor for discussion on this number, and again, I would like to recognize Director Green in charge of IT. Excuse me, I was just on Mr.
No,
May.
thank you.
HR, there's 2 other letters that go with it, HR, so thank you for coming, I appreciate it. And I open up discussion to the floor. All right, without any discussion, I will be calling for a vote on this account, 1012, in the amount of $494,788. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. If you can go on to the next item.
Next item is
1070.
account 1070, insurance claims found on page 84. We're with Human Resources Director Green again. A motion was made by Representative Pulaski, seconded by Representative Gardner to move $983,635. Direct, no, not yet. Am I still minutes? It's okay, we're moving along.
Thank you for being proactive, Representative Bassett.
Yes. Director Green discussed the changes in premium and the cost of insurance properties, the splits with the new school. The committee discussed liabilities of the old school and how the new ones shifted from the town to the Board of Ed. The public safety and the police were also discussed, and our town liabilities, you know, from not the Board of Ed, you know what I'm saying? It's a very, Director Green will explain the insurance premiums here because we had a long discussion about it. Chairman Powers asked for a vote. 7 were in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. I move $983,635.
All right, moved by S. Powers, seconded by Massett. Count 1070. I'm trying to find it on my sheet here. Insurance and claims, and that is for the amount of $635. I don't want to.
You're not getting old.
All right, and this is page 84 in your big book. And for clarification, this is what was recommended by the town manager, approved by the town council, and further confirmed by the RTM Finance Committee. I open up the floor for discussion.
Director Green, could you just give us an overview of what we discussed? Thank you.
So you'll notice this increase is 3.5%, which is uncharacteristically low, and that is because we are in the process of shifting some of the property costs to the Board of Ed, and this is based on the buildings that are owned. So it's been out of alignment for a little while, and we're making progress with the Board of Ed to align it in accordance with the buildings owned. Otherwise, it would have been a 13% estimated increase across the board because we usually go out to market right around this time or a little bit later towards the end of the fiscal year.
Would you like to speak to the main motion on the floor, Representative Dutton?
I just have a question.
Sure, just grab your microphone.
In keeping with the really interesting discussion about moving our internet forward, I'll put it that way, our communications forward, the line about how cyber crimes coverage may become a separate coverage in the future, could you speak a little bit about that, please?
That will really depend on what the insurers demand, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word. I think it's more demand than a suggestion when you want to get coverage. And it's really tenuous. It's based on what's going on in the market, and does our current property carrier still feel comfortable, and are they going to offer us to package cyber with it? Some places you can get it together, some places you can't, so it's something that we've had on the radar the last few years, just the way the market is going, to anticipate there may come a time where we actually have to carve it out.
Director Green, just a quick question. Is this strictly for properties that the town owns, or is this also personnel as well?
Oh, we cover all of the risk management, but the change that happened with the Board of Ed was property ownership.
Okay, but again, this account is just for that, or is this also including personnel as well?
This would cover public officials' liability, and then there's also in the back a couple of line items for unemployment and any settlements.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on this 1070? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on account 1070, insurance and claims. The main motion is $983,635. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously, 24 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. Thank you.
Our last account for financing is 1071. It's the self-funded plans. It's found on page 88. Human Resources Director Green was with us again. Motion was made by Representative Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Representative Gardner, to move $12,266,822. Director Green explained the different cost centers as they were moving different pieces around, as we want to say in this. Committee asked about zeroing out the OPEP money, which is, I'll let Director Green explain this. Funds liability change and the money where they were zeroed. And we discussed employee medical benefit cost increases along with open market premium shopping. These are negotiated benefits with employee contracts and gets quite complicated. Being present to determine the outcomes, and we're a self-funded insurer, so it makes things different. There's a risk reward from fully insured compared to self-insured, and as we had a long discussion about how that impacts the Board of Education and everything that we're doing moving forward. So Chairman Powers asked for a vote. 7 were in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. I move $12,266,822.
Motion moved by Powers, seconded by Massett. For account 1071, self-funded plans, $12,266,822.
Correct. And I'm sure Director Green can give us a little overview of the self-funded and how it works, and I think it's imperative that we hear that. Thank you.
Director Green?
That is correct. We had a bit of a conversation around this. I know it's a popular topic this year. We are self-funded, so we are claims-based. So the better we can do with performance with our employees is the better our outcomes are. Hopefully, that's the general trend. And when we're calculating every year, we're projecting based on a look back of past claims and measuring it over time. I think that would be the simplest way.
Yes, Representative Norman.
When you say the better we do by employees, that means the fewer claims on...
Meaning, like, if we promote wellness and we have people, maybe they join smoking cessation, or they do walking, or they're doing things that are bettering their health outcomes, that's good not only for the employee.
Not just so it's not fewer claims you're talking about, it's these
It could be fewer, it could be less of the big ones, heart and hypertension, diabetes, things like that. Obviously, we can't control folks, but we want to help guide them towards the best possible way of living.
Okay. And where we saw, because we talked about the difference sort of in the jump on self-funded for the Department of Ed versus here, are you all at all worried that you're about to experience that kind of jump of larger claims for the rest of town that the Board of Ed just experienced last year, or how are you feeling about that?
So I will comment for us. Health insurance is always going up. This is not anything new. It ebbs and flows. I think over time our claims have come in where we thought they would be. I think this is a rough projected year, and there are going to be lots of long, drawn-out conversations because there's lots of pieces that go into making a decision like this. So I would say I'm aware. We're all aware. Healthcare continues to go up regardless of where you're going. It's just what's the best move for the town and the Board of Ed as to where that place will be.
Yeah, I'm more worried that you don't have enough and we're about to get caught. So that was, I guess my secondary question and what you said, to clarify for me in educating, when you said there'll be long, drawn-out conversations, you're talking about what kind of health insurance we have, not like about the claims. The town, in being self-funded, can reject claims for town personnel or cannot? It's what the health insurance controls.
As long as you have insurance, if you break your leg, you go in. So we don't control
so you don't
what
control
kind of
the
treatment
claim.
people get.
Okay,
Correct.
great.
We want to control or attempt to lessen it in any way we can through negotiations for other fees that we can control or through the health of our employees, but you can't control, the illnesses that someone might have.
Okay.
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
Director Green, when we have a surplus of money, where does that money go in comparison to a deficit, and how do we pay for the deficit?
I guess surplus might be a relative word because we operate out of a fund. So it's not, to my
Okay.
knowledge, that it's going anywhere else, but it's remaining in the fund to be used for future.
So it's basically when we have less claims and we have money, it stays in that fund, correct? And the fund is in a growth fund, is it or no?
Is in a,
Meaning, is it an interest-bearing account?
I would say yes. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any other further questions on the main motion on the floor? Yes, Representative Fox, you have the floor.
How much do we have in our reserve fund at this point?
I believe the last time we were able to do an update is February numbers, and it was, I want to say 3, 4, close to 5, maybe 1.8 and 3.1D. I think that's where, I think
the finance director is taking a look right now. That means yes.
Sorry, Finance Director Morrison will be reviewing, but I believe it was approximately 1.8 and 3.1, but we do have to continually update as we get more information in reconciling. So I think we're up to February, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, okay.
So we're looking at 4.9 million in that account right now, if we're going with the 1.8,
Yes.
3.1?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes? Any other discussion on the main motion on the floor for self-funded, right? Okay, self-funded plans? Before I call a vote? All right, seeing no more hands, I'll call for a vote on account 1071, self-funded plans in the amount of $12,266,822. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Abstentions. Motion carries unanimously. 24 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone.
All right. I'm looking to power forward here, if we can, and I'm going to tag your it to Representative Casper. Thank you, Director Green, for coming. I'm sure we'll see you again at the end of the session. All right, if we can chat on your next account.
Before we do that, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
CIP.
7G.
No, where was that? Yeah, 7F.
Yeah, that's technology. I mean, we can.
No, it was brought up to us in our committee. And
Oh, okay.
And we voted on it.
That would have been the snafu then. So Representative Powers, you did not act on that one, is that correct? I got some info from the chief that it got put into a different
What
committee.
account was it?
That was for Municipal Parking Solution Software.
No, we didn't do that one.
We did not do that one.
Okay, so again, I apologize. I think
Okay.
that's what we're doing. So if you don't mind, if we can go through the 2 accounts and 2, all right, so that's Community Development Services. If we can go through those 2 accounts first, then
Point
we'll
of
talk
order,
about
sir.
the, yes.
We need to approve my minutes up to that point in time.
All right,
didn't-
can we step back for a half a second, Mr. Casper? That's right, thank you.
I make a motion to accept the minutes up to the point that I've done it.
Okay, so a motion has been made to approve the finance chair's minutes as presented, which is what we just heard through the accounts and CIPs that he just discussed. It was moved by Powers, seconded by Massett. Is there any discussion on the minutes as presented? All right, seeing none, we'll call for a vote on the acceptance of the minutes as presented by Chair Powers. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Abstentions. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for putting us back in order, sir. All right. Tag, you're it again.
Okay, account.
Just making sure we're awake, sir, right?
Yeah, did I read these minutes? No, I didn't read these minutes yet.
1063?
1063. Yeah. I haven't read these minutes yet.
Excuse me?
I said I haven't read the minutes
That's
yet.
right. If you can please discuss the minutes with the RTM body, please. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I just lost my thing. Hang
Oh.
on. Okay, account 1063, Groton Public Library. Director Mealy explained the 5.4% increase was primarily due to union contracts and minimum wage adjustments and a change to the non-union pay plan. And looking to add a part-time library aide position. 2 had been requested as library programs have increased and attendance of them has increased 70%. Rep. Perry moved $1,845,979, seconded by Representative Keep. Motion carried unanimously.
Okay, if you want to just, if you want, we can just.
Yeah, we just stop there.
Yeah,
Yep.
just stop there. We can make the motion, and then when you're done with the rest of your accounts, we'll approve your minutes as presented. Just to let you know, we do have 25 members back. Rep. Whitney's back.
Okay. So for
A
account.
quorum is half of the membership, so we have a quorum.
For
More-
account.
We have more than half.
Yep. Are we
I
good?
apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Have you counted again?
I'm always counting.
Yeah. Account 1063, Groton Public Library. I move $1,845,979.
Okay, motion was moved by Representative Casper, seconded by Representative Adams. Account 1063, Groton Public Library, in the amount of $1,845,979. All right, and again, this is on page 146 of our big book. This is also the number that was presented by the town manager, approved by the town council, and passed through RTM committee. I open up the floor for discussion on this main motion on the floor. Very well. I'm going to call for a vote on account 1063, Groton Public Library, $1,845,979. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion passes unanimously, 25-0-0. Thank you, Director Mealy. And we still have another one for you on here? Yes,
Yes.
borrow ITCT, so
Yes.
we're going to keep chugging along here. 3310, Representative Casper?
Yes. Account 3310, borrow it, Connecticut. A state program allowing one to borrow from any state library with their library card. Director Mealy explained that as a net lender, our library receives a larger share of the funding. Representative Keep moved $20,000 for account 3310. Representative Perry seconded. Motion carried unanimously.
All right, if you could just move that number, please.
For account 3310, borrow it, Connecticut, I move $20,000.
Okay, motion moved by Representative Chair Casper, seconded by Representative Adams, $20,000 for account 3310, borrow ITCT. I open up the floor for debate on this. All right, seeing no hands, I'm going to call for a vote on 3310, borrow ITCT, in the amount of $20,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Abstentions. Motion carries unanimously, 25-0-0. All right, and then if you could just finish up, please, Representative Casper, with CIP 7G, please.
Next item, was CIP Technology Project G, Town Meeting Room AV Presentation Equipment Replacement Upgrade. Sean Greeley of GTTV explained this has been a multi-year project to fix and upgrade all town meeting rooms audio-visual equipment. Representative Perry moved $65,000. Representative Keep seconded. Motion carried unanimously. I move for CIP Technology Project G, Town Meeting Room AV Presentation Equipment Replacement Upgrade, $65,000.
All right, motion was moved by Representative Casper, seconded by Norman, for CIP 7G, Town Meeting Room AV and Equipment, and that was, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that number, $65,000?
Yes.
Okay. Did catch it. All right, I open up discussion and debate on this CIP. Seeing no hands, I'm going to call for a vote on CIP 7G, Town Meeting Room AV Equipment Replacement Upgrade, $65,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, okay. All those opposed, please say no. All right. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Director Mealy. Appreciate you coming. All right, and again, I'm going to move a switcheroo out of order because I want Representative Casper to get through his minutes as presented. There was a CIP 7F for that got on his agenda, Municipal Parking Solution Software, so I'm going to go ahead and let him speak to that. Then we'll approve his minutes as presented. Then we'll go ahead and have the chief come in, all right, and discuss that.
Okay. Okay, try to find that.
It's 7F, and just so folks are following along, it's 247, and you're in the big book.
Yeah, look at 4. Okay, here it is. Yeah, this item was discussed in our April 24th meeting. But I'll just read from here. CIP F Municipal Parking Solution Software, $47,000. Director Reiner explained this was for streamlining parking enforcement in downtown Mystic via handheld devices to have all information available to the officer. Representative Keep moved $47,000, second by Representative Caden, unanimously approved.
Okay, so if we can just make a motion on the minutes as presented by your committee as of right now, so then we can get that squared away.
Okay. I make, I make a motion to accept the minutes of the Community Service, Development and Services Committee minutes to be accepted as presented.
Okay, motion was made by Chairman Casper, seconded by Powers S. All right, to accept the minutes of Community Development and Services as presented to us this evening. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on acceptance of the minutes as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Are there abstentions? All right, that minutes passes unanimously, 25-0-0. So now we can go back to 7F, Municipal Parking Solutions Software. Representative Casper?
Yes. I've lost my space spot here again. For CIP F Municipal Parking Solutions Software, I move $47,000.
Okay, motion by Chair Casper, seconded by Powers S. CIP 7F Municipal Parking Solutions Software. The main motion is for $47,000. Is there any discussion on this? Just real quick, again, this is Chief Fasaro. I mean, this information or this progress to this new way has been asked for by studies and other things like that that we've done over the past years. Is that correct?
That's correct. This is a byproduct of several meetings, studies that have been done, looking at addressing some of the increasing problems we have, and particularly in the Mystic area. It does pertain to other parts of town. Certainly wouldn't be used exclusively there, but predominantly in the Mystic area. Handheld device, the ability for our officers and community service officers to print tickets out in the field, document any violations through photographs that are held in the system. The offenders are then able to plead not guilty or pay by an app and utilize a credit card to do that. Right now, we still do old school, press hard 3 copies, carbonized forms for parking tickets, and this would allow them to be adjudicated at least at the initial level here in town without the person even having to come. Okay. So, let's streamline that.
Very good. Is there any other discussion on this? Representative Fox?
How far out of the town is this parking going to be controlled by this system?
It's exclusively for the town. It's a municipal software. It's only for Groton.
I'm sorry. In the Mystic Town area, we have parking on the main street, and then there's a whole series of parking all around that neighborhood. And I've heard from a number of people that they're concerned about parking in front of their houses and such. And I know downtown it's 2 hours. I don't know what it is on the outside of the downtown area. And if this system would help to control those parking areas as well.
Well, it's part of a holistic approach at addressing the parking problem, and it's just one small component of it. But those areas that it isn't going to control the parking problem. It allows us to enforce violations of parking. People that park in the wrong spot or park illegally. It's going to be able to issue town tickets for that. We do that now, but quite frankly, it's inefficient in the way we do it. So this would help do that in a better way. I don't know that really addresses what you're asking, though. I understand there's a bigger issue here with parking throughout, particularly the Mystic area. There are designated 2-hour parking zones in the downtown area. Those don't extend out of that area. Those are really for the downtown area. Other violations are if they're illegally parked, blocking a driveway, over the fog line out on the roadways. Those are different violations. Does that help to kind of clarify it a little bit?
Maybe off here, but is there a chance that we can extend the 2-hour parking limits further outside of town in the neighborhood areas?
Well,
That would be an ordinance, is
yeah,
that correct? We'd have to change the ordinance, which that would come through the town council, and they would have to approve that. We wouldn't have anything to do with that here at the RTM level.
We can also look at the traffic authority, but we'd have to know the particular areas, and, we can't just make it blanket. We'd want to know what the violations were or what the problems are and take a look at it that way. But some of them can be brought to the traffic authority, but if there's a requirement for an ordinance change, that would have to go through the council.
And I think I understand where Rep. Fox is going with this, but if, let's say there were residential zones where you had to have a pass in order to park there, this would enable using this new system in order to ticket that person if they didn't have a residential parking sticker, is that correct?
Yes, well, any violations, it would help us address that by issuing tickets. But as far as changing that stuff, separate and apart from this is merely a tool that our officers and community service officers would use out in the field to actually write the tickets, and then for the recipient of those tickets to either pay them or plead not guilty. And there's also a software backbone that's hosted by the service that we would contract with in order to do this.
The system digitally chalks the tires?
Yeah, the town manager wanted me to explain. So there's, you've probably seen in some municipalities, big cities, where they'll go out and they'll chalk tires back in the good old days. There's been some case law that really directs police not to do that anymore because of some issues. So this would do it digitally by taking photographs of where the vehicle was, the tire stem, making sure that vehicle hadn't moved. So it documents it, so if later on the person does plead not guilty, the proof is right there through a digital photograph that's embedded into the summons itself.
Okay, thank you.
Rep. Whitney, you had a question?
Yes, the CIP description mentioned meters. I was just wondering if there's any decision on meters yet. I think the answer is no, but I just wanted to check.
Where are you referring to meters? I don't believe that's in this. Did I?
You talked about it at the top in that first paragraph.
In Mystic.
Yeah, that certainly is a decision outside of my lane. We've talked about it. We've had studies done that would require some changes that the council would have to enact.
But this is not part of that.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with that.
Okay. Representative Watson?
Yeah, thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Moderator. The tickets, I mean, what's a typical parking ticket? Is it 20 bucks, 50 bucks? I'm just curious what it is. And then as a follow-up to that, do we keep all that money in the town, or does the state get some of that?
No, for these municipal tickets, they go to the town. If we contract with someone, there's usually a percentage of that goes to the service that's provided. That I don't believe is part of this proposal that we're currently looking at, but the fees all come to the town. I'm sorry, what was the first part of your question, Representative Watson?
How much are the tickets?
How much is a parking ticket?
As you may recall, it wasn't that long ago, they were merely $10 in town, which quite frankly wasn't much of a deterrent for people parking. Now they're $25. They can go up to $50 if someone doesn't pay them. But we regularly look at surrounding communities and take a survey as to what they are currently at. It has trended upwards in recent years beyond that $25. Again, a comprehensive review of this is, I think, in order from multiple facets, not just from this particular CIP that we're proposing, but I do think a holistic approach to this is a good one. Sure.
Okay.
Chief,
thank you very much.
Just to add on to that, I believe Stonington's fees went up a while ago. We'd like to match the fees. If you're on one half of Mystic, we don't want it really to have different fees than the other half. So that is on my list to analyze and do something with.
Are you all set? Oh, okay, there we go. Enough said. Any other discussion on the main motion of 7F, $47,000 for municipal parking solution software? All right, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of 7F's $47,000 CIP, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? All right, and that motion passes 25 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Thank you, Chair Casper. If there's a willingness here to take a little break before we move on to the remaining accounts, I will entertain a motion to recess. Yes. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, let's take 20 minutes. We good? If we get here earlier, we'll get back to it. 15. All right, 15 sounds good. I got to stretch the legs here. All right, 15 minutes.
Well, don't
Recording in progress.
All right, we are back from our little snack session. Again, thank you, Representative Wells, for bringing those delicious cookies from SIFT. It was quite enjoyable. One is just never enough. I'm going to turn it over to Chair Burrill of the Public Safety Committee to discuss item 1024, Public Safety.
Yes, the RTM Public Safety Committee met on April 23rd at the Groton Police Station. Okay, we called to order at 7:02. Members present were myself, Representative Adams, Representative Bailey, Representative Hanson, and Representative Massett. I declared a quorum. Also present, and I'm just going to say what line item was Town of Groton Police Chief Facero, Deputy Chief Paul Gailey. I had representatives from the City of Groton and Groton Long Point present, but I'll announce them when I get to those line items. I'm just going to go through the accounts that we're going to.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we discussed account number 1024, public safety. It's on page 101 in your books. Okay, a motion was made for $10,571,851 by Representative Hanson, seconded by Representative Adams. Presentation by Chief Facero and Deputy Chief Gailey. After his presentations, we asked some questions and everything was answered. At that time, I made a motion for $10,671,815, and that was to reinstate the cuts from the council. After some discussion and vote, and we had a vote, we had 4 in favor, 1 opposed. At this time, I'd like to move that figure at $10,671,815.
Second. 815 or 50? I've got 15 on here.
I'm good for making
10,671,815.
That's what we passed.
Okay. All right, and I didn't catch the second. I thought it was Massett, but I could be wrong. Okay, so motion has been made by Chair Burrill for account 1024 in the amount of, and it was seconded by Representative Massett, $10,671,815. Okay, before I move along on recognizing Representative Adams, I just wanted to say that this was a restoration of funding that was reduced by the town council. The town council's number was $10,571,815. In order to restore this funding, as we spoke of last session, that it would need a 2/3 majority in order to pass. Currently, right now, we have 24 members present, which means that you would need 16 votes in the affirmative in order to pass this number. Furthermore, just for the record, Representative Cadden and Norman have left, but they are going to come back on Zoom once they get back into their other location. But right now we have 24 people, so we're going to keep an eye out on Zoom if this is still going on, to give everybody the current numbers of RTM members that are present. Representative Adams, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to move another number, please. Can I do that?
You may.
Okay. I would like to move $10,571,815. I'm sorry, Chief.
I just need a second first. Okay. Okay, first amended motion on the floor made by Representative Adams, seconded by Representative Dean Shinbrot, $10,571,815. You can speak to that motion if you wish, Representative Adams.
I was wondering if it would be possible to have Mayor Franco come and explain the reduction that the council took. Somebody's got to speak for the taxpayers.
Understood. Are you going to yield your time to our ex officio member then?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Representative Adams is yielding her time to the floor to an ex officio member, Town Mayor, Councilor Rachel Franco. You have the floor.
Thank you. I'm always a big favor of public safety. But this year with the tight budget, we were looking for savings. So when the police budget came up, we had discussions. It was recognized that there are services that the police department needs to fill, but they are difficult sometimes to fulfill. So I think the decrease was made, and with the discussion of, and I've spoken to other counselors, and I don't want to speak for them, but in jest, it was, we don't want to tax the taxpayers for this, but if you can fulfill the needs during the year, that you should come back to us and discuss it, and we can move some funding if necessary, but we didn't want to tax the taxpayer on it when it's such a hard situation to fill. So, is there any other questions about it? Did I explain it?
Okay, I think Town Manager Burt wanted to add, and then Representative Casper.
I think in '23, about 95,000 was turned back to the town because of various things like temporary openings. It was a little more than that the year before. I feel comfortable with the council number. Worst comes to worst, if we need a little bit, we have contingency for that, or fund balance if really worst comes to worst, but I feel comfortable with the council number.
Representative Casper?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I was just questioning, was there something specific? It was sort of talked in a generality, but was there a specific to that number?
Are you talking about the town mayor's rationalization of that reduction for this account?
Yeah, it looks like it was 100,000 reduction.
Yeah, and I believe that what she had just stated is that in past budgets, just like Town Manager Burt said, there might have been unused funds for specific line items, personnel, or something to that nature, which then in turn went back into the general fund. So again, I can't speak for the council, but the intent of what I am understanding from both of these individuals is that they were preemptively just lining that amount out in lieu of maybe not filling a position that is hard to fill to begin with. And if they did need it, they could always come back and ask for that money through, would that be through contingency then, if that were the case, Town Manager Burt?
What we'd most likely do is, in the next few weeks, you're gonna see the end of the year, fourth quarter transfer, where any department may have gone over for various reasons. Same kind of thing. We would just add it to the list. If it went over a little bit, we put into the fourth quarter transfer for contingency dollars.
I hope that answers your question, Representative Casper. Representative Powers S.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like Chief to tell us what the $100,000, you know, what, if he needs it or if he doesn't, please.
Well, first, you realize this guy's my boss, right? So. Say
what you need to say.
I'm just, yeah. Well, listen, I'll say, and I respect the wishes of the council and the RTM for that matter. And obviously, you have to be good stewards of the town taxpayer dollars. But I will point out, we feel that way too. And unlike other funds that get dispersed by the council and the RTM, anything that we don't spend because of our, whether it's not filling a position or judiciously using overtime or finding savings where we can, we try to be good, responsible stewards of that. And I pride myself in not just frivolously spending money. We provide estimates, we provide a budget that we think's going to enable us to do the mission that you've tasked us with doing, providing public safety for the town. And that's the number that we came up with to provide that. Will we survive? We will survive. We'll deliver services. But again, you know, the budget preparation done by not just me, but you know, you'll see in the back, Captains B and McCarthy, they put a lot of work into this. So that's where we came up with those, and we did. You know, we understand the tight budget times that we're in, but sometimes it also feels like, you know, you do your, quite frankly, you do your job well and you get punished for it, and whereas others get maybe not the same punishment may not be the right word, but, you know.
Yep, Town Manager Byrd.
Once the council made the cut, recommended to the RTM the cut, my direction to the chief was just operate as you normally do. We're not actually cutting anything. Operate as you do, and if you do run into a money issue, we'll handle it. Not a problem. So.
Okay, and so for those that aren't aware, I know Town Manager Burt brought up an account that we have, and if you look on your little spreadsheets here, it's called 10094 contingency. That's what he's alluding to when either maybe, let's say May or June, we'll see fourth quarter transfers where that money will be coming out of that account. So that's an account we'll be discussing at a future budget session, okay? I see Representative Fox.
Yes. I wonder if the chief could talk a bit about the coordination between the other police operations in Groton, the City of Groton and Groton Long Point. I know you try to coordinate with them, and I'm not sure what kind of savings you can accomplish through that kind of coordination.
Wow, that's a loaded question. We try to maintain a good relationship and coordinate services when we can. That is a bigger conversation that I'm really not. You put me in a difficult position to make that. I only speak for my department, right? We coordinate, you know, Chief Knowles in the back of the room. We work with him closely on training. You know, we dispatch for his agency. We have a good working relationship, I think, and certainly, are there things that could be done differently? I think there probably could be, holistically, but that's a bigger discussion that probably needs a couple other people in the room to have. So did I talk around that sufficiently enough? Yeah, I'm not looking to make enemies in this room or outside of this room, but you know, could things be done more efficiently? Sure. Yeah, we could do things more efficiently in my department, and certainly, you know, collaboratively. There's been studies done on it, but you know, quite frankly, nothing's ever changed. Mm-hmm. So that's more of a discussion that you guys need to have, not me.
And to be clear, I believe it's probably a discussion beyond our body. That would be something that would be done either collaboratively with the town council, or the town council would have to make those types of decisions and then you know, vote on that. Representative Perella.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I think the questions brought up tonight and by all the representatives are important, because the police safety budget is something we really don't want to cut. However, there are duplication of services, and I used to live down in the city within the town, and the services are great on both sides of the spectrum. But the time is coming now where we are going to be faced with having to fund higher health costs and energy costs and different departments that are mandated, such as education, which leaves us in a difficult position. And you, as the chief and the town manager, trying to manage all this with the council, trying to balance it also. The time is coming very soon, I think, that we are going to have to start to talk and have that discussion, which is not maybe the most pleasant discussion, but we can't keep duplicating all the services. So I think I will suggest that we do go with the lower number tonight with the town council, because we have a catch in there that we can grab monies. We have an outstanding police department. We have a great EMS coordinating system. We need everyone we can. Bless you. And I think that we also should be very excited that there's going to be a substation related to budgeting, because you're going to have to budget for that, nearer towards the bridge area on the northwestern part of the northwestern part of the town, because a lot of the responses are going to be towards that area as the increase in apartments are being built and all that. So that being said, I think we should go with the lower number, with the idea that there needs to be a further discussion down the line about coordinating of services. We can plan for that, then there won't be drastic cuts in the next few years coming up, but we do need to address that, because you know, we want to keep the services, but we really can't keep duplicating. So.
Is there any other members that would like to speak to the first amended figure on the floor? Yes, Representative Dean Shinbrot.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Hi, Chief. Thanks for coming. We'll give you whatever you need later on if you need it. That's how I feel. But for now, if we can go with the town council's number just to keep things copacetic, that would be great.
Yeah.
And I think we can do it. We're really good at working together, I think, with you.
I appreciate that. May I hit one point?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And it isn't to speak to whatever number. I understand what you're saying. I just think it's important to highlight. It speaks to some of the comments or questions that I was just asked. You know, one of the reasons our budget did go up this year is I've proposed an additional position for accreditation and an accreditation manager. I will tell you the cost of policing in Connecticut universally has gone up considerably in the last few years. And that's not all a bad thing, by the way. There's, you know, accountability, some of the things that have happened in my profession. I think some of the things were good, quite frankly. Some of the things we wanted to see happen and probably wouldn't have been able to make happen for a number of years were it not for some of the things that happened. Unfortunate circumstances that necessitated it, but I'll tell you there are other things that I do think that are maybe not necessary, quite frankly. But one of those positions that I've asked for in this budget is an accreditation manager. We absolutely need that position, and the council, as I understand, did approve that. So we're very proud of the fact that we didn't just meet the minimum standards when it came to accreditation. We've met the top tier of that, the gold standard in CALIA. So that position is to manage that process. It's not unique to us, by the way. There's a lot of work that go into it. You know, state accreditation and CALIA are two different animals. They kind of are in the same, they're in the same zoo, so to speak, but they're a little bit different the way you manage them. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of expense. And we're not alone in needing the funds for those expenses. To your point, the points that were brought up before, there's a lot of money that is being spent by the town of Groton to provide that stuff, to make sure that all of the policing agencies achieve the standards that we're now mandated by law to achieve. So when asked, you know, why do we produce a budget the way we did, it was to add that position to make sure that we maintain our accreditation. We work really hard to get it. We're really proud of it, and the town should be proud of it too, because we're the only department in eastern Connecticut and certainly in New London County that's clearly accredited right now. And I think the citizens and you as representatives of the citizens deserve that, and we need to maintain it.
Is there any other discussion on the first amended figure on the floor? Representative Keep? Fox, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate your difficulty in coordinating between the various towns, and each of you have your own responsibilities. But we on the RTM here have to approve these 3 police budgets. And when I looked at the numbers on that, it's a number somewhere in the range of $18 million when you add up the 3 police departments. That number of 18 million that we're going to be asked to spend on public safety here in town comes out to $462 per person in town for that service. The state average for per person expenditure for public safety is $359 per person. That puts us at a number of around $103 per person more than the average in the state. In addition to that, when you add up the police officers, we have 117 officers overall in the town between the 3 police departments, and that comes out to 28.5 officers per 10,000 people, which is a number that I did a lot of research to try to figure out what I'm supposed to be looking at here, and that's a number that they use on a national level and in the state level. In Connecticut, the average is 21.5 officers per resident, or per 10,000 residents, and nationally, in towns that are 25,000 to 50,000 people, and that's a total of 773 towns. That average comes out to be 17 officers per 100,000, per 10,000 residents. You know, in almost every regard, as we look at this as an overall town expenditure, we are far above any averages that I could find. So it's certainly, in my mind, not unreasonable to go with the town council's number to start to bring us in line and to start a process of where we can start this coordination and have the kind of savings that if we were under one police department, we would certainly realize. Thank you.
Chair Burrill, you have the floor.
Yeah, I'd like to make a statement about the different police departments. What we're here voting on right now is our town's police department. This is the police department that covers the town of Groton. The other police departments are subdivisions of the town of Groton. We don't pay for their whole budget. They only pay for partial of their budget. So you can't combine what everything's going on. I'd say that cutting our public safety within the town should have nothing to do with what happens in the subdivisions.
Representative Powers and Pirelli, you both spoke twice. I'm going to look and see if there's any first-time speakers before I recognize y'all. All right, Powers and Pirelli.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I do want to comment on Representative Fox's statement. I don't know many towns or cities in Connecticut that we have a chemical factory, we have Pfizer, we have General Dynamics as a defense plant, and we have a military base.
And they're not in the town.
Excuse me, Representative Pulaski, Mr. Powers has the floor.
The point I'm trying to make is that we're one town, all of us. The police are here to protect us and to do their job. And in my opinion, it's quite a different environment than a lot of the cities that we have. We have a lot of people that come from all over the country to come here. I wouldn't want to do their traffic patrol. Do you understand? Go up down Route 12. I ride my bike all over the town. I see what these people do and I see how they enforce the law. And whatever they need, I believe, in my opinion, we need to give them whatever they need. Whatever resources I can possibly give the police department, I want to give them. So I'm going to support the main number, the full amount, because we need to protect ourselves and understand what goes on here. They can't even tell us half of the things that go on here. So whether we get the top number or we get the other number from the town council, either way the chief is going to get funded through the contingency that we have and the things that Manager Byrd has told us. But I think we need to really look at what we have for coverage in our town. It's a big town and it's got a lot of things in it. Thank you.
All right, Representative Pirella.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I really understand where that statement is coming from. And the issue of the funding of the police budget in the city was debated for years. There was also an EMS study years ago about coordinating better in the town, because you had an ambulance station that was moved, et cetera. Then you had the new police station, which used to be down in this area, and then it went up onto the up on Fort Hill. That being said, the coordination of services, which is already being done between the two police stations and the EMS, is your crucial coordination, which is happening. But I think the question is it happening efficiently? And then we have to look at, we are voting on the town police budget, but we also have to look at the entire budget and how we vote on each line item of the budget, because it's going to affect the totals for everything. That being said, we need to look at what we can give this police department to do their job the best that they can. We did hear from the town manager that stated we can live with this at the moment, and the chief is being very diplomatic and excellent in the way he is trying to protect his department, which is exactly what he's supposed to be doing, and the citizens directly in what he knows. So I have no question about that. The thing is right at this point, if we don't start to look at these line items and start to carefully be able to cut where we need to cut and other areas we can't cut because there's mandates that we have to do. I have a couple questions. With the healthcare costs this year, did they go up, and what was the percentage?
Healthcare is not part of our budget. It's part of human resources, but I do believe they went up. I'm kind of shooting from the hip on that, so I can't give you a specific answer. As you know, and in my presentation to the town council and to the subcommittee, I laid out the fact that we do budget differently with the town departments and what you'll hear from Groton Long Point and from the city. Our budget is an operations and maintenance budget, so I pay for people and I pay for things. When it comes to healthcare, post-employment benefits, those are in the human resources budget. You'll hear from the subdivisions that they're part of a fully burdened budget. So we don't even do that the same way, quite frankly.
I'm just going to drill you just a little so there can be
Sure.
some factual things that when we do
Absolutely.
vote, so people can say this is good, this isn't good. That's what I'm trying to do. For attrition of the department, if you can give numbers, I'm not sure if you can remember these. How many people have left the department through either retirement or attrition, or that part first?
What time period?
For this past year.
This past year, we've been fully staffed. We have 2 retirements that happened last month. We are expecting potentially another one, maybe even after the next month or 2, in the police side of the house. As far as dispatch, we've been understaffed. We have 13 positions. We've got 9 of them filled right now, so we have 4 vacancies. We've been trying to fill them. We lost a couple of dispatchers throughout the year. Specifically, I can tell you when it comes to dispatch, we've lost, just in this calendar year, 2. We lost another 2 in 2023. So year to date with the police department, we lost 2, and we also had retirements and lost 2 additional officers in 2023.
Will those positions be replaced as dispatchers, or will they be possibly transferred to patrol or?
2 totally different jobs.
Okay.
Dispatch, we hired them specifically as dispatchers. They're under one collective bargaining agreement. Police officer, different. They're not necessarily interchangeable. You know, police officers, a certification for a police officer, the pre-hiring screening is much more robust, and it's you know, a more lengthy process, and the screening is different and prescribed by law and policy here in Connecticut from the Police Officer Standards and Training Council. Dispatch is a little bit different. You know, they have different skill sets, quite frankly, in both. So they're both equally important to our operation. You know, police does policing for the town. Dispatch does service not just the police department, Groton Long Point Police Department, but all the fire services along with EMS providers from North Stonington Fire, Groton Ambulance, Mystic River Ambulance. The only entity that we don't dispatch for is Groton City Police. They use their own dispatch.
Is there a person or persons that you use because the city does take up a good, let's say not third, but a quarter of the town? Is there coordination with a particular group of people from the dispatch there?
We're the PSAP. That's the public safety answering point. That means anybody in Groton, regardless of where you live, in some of the surrounding communities and some of the highways, when you dial 911, it comes to the building up on Groton Long Point Road. So all the 911 calls come there. If it's a 911 call designated for anything other than city police, our dispatchers handle it. If it's for city police, that it will get patched over from the dispatcher in our dispatch center to their dispatcher.
Excellent. And then the other question is, 2 other questions. Grant money, what federal grants have you seen that have come into the department, and what federal grants, if you can remember, have not been renewed this year or not targeted to be renewed?
Yeah, if you look in the funding or the financing plan, it outlines exactly what we get. We get grants from, we're part of the emergency planning zone for Millstone Nuclear Power Plant, so that's an emergency management grant. We get a grant specifically for Millstone. Captain B, who's in the back of the room, he manages that. We get that, and it's really set by the Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security with the state, and it's funds that come from Millstone through that agency. We also get Homeland Security grants, emergency management program grants. They're not in the millions of dollars, they're in the tens of thousands of dollars, and some of that is to reimburse for salaries for emergency management specifically. Those are the bulk of them. Sometimes we do apply for grants, but many times when a grant, in fact, we've been looking at some, I've spoken to the town manager about for some things that we would like to see happen. Usually those grants, they're either a 80-20 or 70-30 split where the town would have to put up a certain amount of money, or they're federally funded for X number of years, and after that the town has to pay for that. So managing those grants, for personnel costs is a little bit different. We have in the past gotten funding for, like our boat. The boat that we have was fully funded under a grant. Before I became chief, a number of years ago, we had sustainment grants from the Coast Guard through the Port Security Grant, where we were able to get monies from them. So everything up until now that we've utilized for Marine patrols has been grant funded. We don't do it on overtime. We try to eliminate that. We try to use officers that are already working. So we don't have funds to pay for the services of those officers. We try to find officers that are on duty, that are qualified to operate. But the sustainment grants we were receiving in the past no longer exist. They've been reprogrammed for other needs, and that's a federal, that's guidelines set by the federal government.
So they're kind of being exhausted this year coming up, or they're already done?
Last year they did, and Captain B, again, I'm pointing to the back of the room because he sits on, he's on the Marine group. He's part of that, where they are really the focal point of those grants when they come in, but we don't dictate what they're used for. In recent years, those have been programmed for cyber stuff, and that's where the bulk of that money is gone.
And then one last note, because the town is undergoing a lot of construction for the infrastructure, one of the things that we haven't really had a big conversation about, which is extremely important with EMS and police response, you know, your budget right now, I think it's going to be difficult in the next few years because we may see more calls that you're going to have to deal with. So that needs to be looked at, not just definitely where we're funding other areas of the town, but especially in the middle of the town, which I've kind of been screaming about because I want to make sure we're going to be covered.
Sure. What I hope, it's hard to believe, I've been chief of police here for going on 9 years. I can't believe it. It seems like just yesterday. And I will tell you that my efforts, along with our command staff and our leadership team, has always been to posture for the future, to make sure that this department is well positioned for things that we would encounter. And that's what we've been doing. And that's why we're CLIA accredited. That's why we're the first to have body cameras. That's why we've done all these things, including an entire rewrite of our policy manual, all those things, and quite frankly, some infrastructure upgrades, the radio system. We're the first municipal agency to go on the state radio system. This body provided funding a number of years ago for us to upgrade our uninterrupted power source within the building, and make sure, you remember that, right? We had those discussions about the UPS system and be able to sustain our communication center. So a lot of the things that we've done, I hope we've set the town up in a way that it's prepared for those future advancements, and I think that's been one of my priorities. And I think, you know, at least, and I'm obviously biased here, I think our leadership team is doing an exceptional job putting that together. So I don't want to take credit for it. I want to give them the credit because we've got some really strong supervisors that are positioned well for future advancement in the department.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Representative Dutton.
Thank you very much, both Chief and Town Manager. This is not a defund the police question at all. I think everybody supports our local law officers, and I agree. I'm actually just looking at the budget, and I'm not getting the sense that you guys disagree a whole lot.
About?
You and the town manager, because I'm just looking at the numbers here, just line by line.
Yep.
And I'm just, with all due respect, sir, if the town manager is working this closely with what, to a, you know, complete outsider to your work, and the rest of us are saying this is manageable, is that manageable? And I'm speaking diplomatically here.
Yeah, is it manageable? Sure, and I think that, you know, listen, the town manager's a man of his word. I know what he's been. You're asking me to sing the praise of my boss, right? It sounds like I'm a proverbial butt kisser here, but no. I mean, listen, we talk virtually every day. We discuss these things about what's good for the department and what's good for the town, and he's certainly been more than I you know, brag about it internally. The town manager's been very supportive of our department, and I think a lot of the successes that we've achieved has been because of that support. And not just his, you know, the town council, the RTM. Will we survive? Yes. I mean, our job is to, you know, I was a soldier, man. You salute smartly and carry on regardless of what the mission is. We will do that. You know, I'm just saying, when I prepare the budget, we look at all those things, and we look at those things that, again, to the point that was just made, is to try and position us for the future so that we can, and listen, in the world of assets and liabilities, law enforcement is a bit of a liability, right? Because you're paying for things that you hope you don't need. You're paying for a police officer that you hope doesn't come knocking on your door in the middle of the night to deliver bad news, or to visit you in the hospital when you've been involved in an accident, or to come to your aid if you've been the victim of a crime, or a larceny, or something as simple as coming to the police station because you've had your identity stolen. We don't want you to experience that. So, but what you're paying for, whether it's 10.5, 10.6, 18, whatever, those are the things you're paying for. We get paid. Police officers don't get paid for what they do. Police officers get paid for what they might have to do. That's what we teach our recruits when they're going through the academy. We're giving you a lot of authority. We're giving you equipment that says that you can deprive people of their liberty, and if in certain very prescribed circumstances, their life, right? And that's a big, awesome responsibility. And one of my goals is to make sure, and it was in the presentation I did to the town council, I'm not worried about things that aren't going to benefit this town and this department and my area of responsibility. I'm worried about things that are going to benefit the citizens that we're serving in the best way possible. I'm not looking for projects or things that I don't think that we need. I'm focusing on the training of our officers, the equipping of our officers, the performance of our officers, and making sure they deliver services and protect the citizens of Groton the way they should be, the way you deserve to be. I'm not worried about the peripheral stuff. So when I put this budget together, I'm not asking for things that we don't need, right? So I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Chief, just as a kind of clarification or follow-up, there was discussion mentioned about dispatches down 4, and with the retirements of police officers, SWAN officers. We've had these discussions before, and I'm just giving this clarification to the body. Is it fair to say that we need to have those people at those positions, and if we're down 4 or we're down 2, the requirements made by statute to have somebody patrolling first, second, or third shift, or being in dispatch first, second, or first shift still has to happen, so that could or would increase the overtime budget?
It absolutely would, and we've benefited. Our department. I'll speak about it again. CLIA accreditation. So our report, the assessors that came in from out of state were impressed that we were fully staffed. That's kind of an anomaly in today's environment. 2 officers that just completed a full career, did great service to the town, moved on to other parts of their life, have retired. And we will look to fill those, and we have some candidates already in the hopper. Where we've had a lot of difficulty, quite frankly, is with dispatch, and that is not unique to our agency. That is kind of a universal thing right now. And I know they're paying attention. I know they're listening to this. I know they watch the meetings. That causes me more concern, because the same dispatchers that are sitting in there right now are not getting days off. They're working exorbitant amounts of overtime. I learned this thing a couple of years ago, which I'd never heard about. Maybe you've heard of it, work-life balance. I didn't know it was such a thing. Maybe I should have listened to my wife a long time ago when she was talking about it in different terms. But I want them to have a good, healthy work-life balance so that those positions are filled, so we're not constantly mandating our dispatchers or police officers. But right now, the big crux is on our dispatchers. We do need those critical positions filled. But much like every other enterprise, and I was talking to a guy today who does carpentry, finding help has been difficult that we're in that environment in public safety right now for a lot of reasons. So yes, to your point, filling that with overtime is one of those things that we do. We still need people staffing the dispatch center and answering those 911 calls and helping people in their time of need. Yeah. The town manager is pointing out, whether it's a dispatcher or a police officer, again, in the world of assets and liabilities, we're fortunate to have those people in those positions, but they're not an immediate asset in the sense that when we hire a dispatcher or a police officer, it takes the better part of a year from the time we get them into the department till they're fully functional on their own, that they're working by themselves as either a dispatcher for police or for fire or as a police officer. The training that is required of them takes, for a dispatcher, it's generally about 9 months. For a police officer, it's a little bit longer than that when you combine the academy training with field training. And then they go on their own, and they're actually a full resource to us to utilize in the independent capacities that they're sworn in for.
You good? All right, is there any other discussion on the amended figure on the floor for account 1024, public safety? Representative Adams?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I have always been a very staunch supporter of the police department, and the chief knows I would gladly pass any of the budgets that he requires. In committee meeting, it actually pained me something awful not to pass the higher number.
I know that.
And he understands where I come from. Yes, the dispatchers are important. We need the dispatchers. But if the manager is comfortable with the number and the town council was comfortable with the lower number and the chief can deal with the lower number, I think we need to pass the lower number. We need to help the taxpayers. We can't just keep throwing money into accounts and giving them higher numbers. We need to have some savings someplace. I'm sorry, Chief.
No, we had a long discussion. I understand your position. I appreciate that. I value it. I hope you look at that universally too, and I can handle that. But I think we spoke about it. There's not necessarily fairness in the way we do budgeting and the way we allocate funds, but I do understand where you're coming from.
And I will be supporting the lower number.
Is there any other discussion on the first amended figure on the floor? All right, seeing none, we'll get a roll call vote on this. That's because we got a lot of people online. We're at 25 now. Representative Norman has joined us on Zoom, so I just want to make that clear for everybody here and at home. And I'll turn it over to the town clerk.
Okay. Adams?
Absolutely, yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Burrell?
No.
Casper?
Yes.
Dean Shinbrough?
Yes.
Dutton?
Yes.
Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Fritchie?
Representative Fritchie? All right, we'll count it as a no vote right now.
Fox?
Yes.
Garner?
Yes.
Gibbs?
No.
Hanscom?
Yes.
Cadden is not here.
Yep. Massett?
Yes.
McElroy?
Yes.
Norman?
Yes.
Perella?
Yes.
K. Powers?
Yes.
S. Powers?
No.
Pulaski?
Yes.
Amris?
Representative Umras?
Yes.
V.C. Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Wells?
Yes.
Whitney?
No.
We're going to go to Fritchie. Fritchie, are you online now?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my thing was yes.
Yes.
Amboise is no.
Okay, that's 20 to 5 to 0.
22.
5, 0.
Who are your fives?
Fives is Burrell, Gibbs, Powers, S.
Okay.
Whitney.
25, 0. Okay. That motion carries 20 in favor, 5 opposed, 0 abstentions. All right, and then we've got one more for the CIP, so if you could just give us that information, and then we can work on that number. Thank you.
Yeah, the committee made a motion for 0. Representative Hanson, seconded by Adams. This time I would like to move the committee's figure at 0.
Okay, and this is for CIP 7J, Police Evidence Processing Command Vehicle. This was the number that was also approved by the town council, is that correct? Representative Brill? Yeah, okay, all right, I got a yes on that. my marker. Jay. Okay, so, did we get a second on that? Yes, there was a Massett. Okay, so it was moved by Burrell, seconded by Massett for CIP 0. Is there any other discussion on this? Did you want to speak to this at all, Chief, or, Representative Burrell?
Yes, I'd like to move another figure.
Okay.
I'd like to move the $125,000 that the council had removed that we approved last year.
Second.
Okay, there's a First Amendment figure on the floor for $125,000, seconded by Casper. Now again, Town Manager Burt, just for clarification purposes, this would require a 2/3 vote, is that correct? Okay. So with us having 25 members present, we are going to need 17 members in the affirmative in order to uphold this second amended figure. Would you like to speak to that, sir?
Yes. The chief had actually found a cheaper vehicle, and this money was actually approved by us last year's budget. And if he knew that, the council had cut it, and if he knew the council would have cut it, he would have found a vehicle to spend that amount of money instead of the 300 and whatever, it was 325,000, which I think was a complete thing. Don't quote me on the figures, were around that. But seeing the council cut the money that was put in this year, which was, I don't have my budget in front of me, so this is just reinstating what we approved last year.
Just for clarification, the request was for $250,000.
For this year.
Correct.
Yes.
And it was zeroed out.
Yes.
Yes, Representative Perella.
So I'd like to find out from the chief the functions of this vehicle, and if you are in a dire need of the vehicle, what will the vehicle do that is not already being done? If you need the money, for example, we don't give you the money, would you be, if there's an emergency or something and you need this vehicle, is it just going to keep going from year to year where you need it?
Yeah, so give you a little history lesson here. We did have something similar to this at the start of my tenure as chief. We divested of that because it was, quite frankly, not serviceable any longer. My hope has been for a number of years to replace it. Costs have gone up over time. There was never a good budget year. Every year it was something that came in the way of it. Last year we were happy that the council and RTM had provided some funding. It was less than we had initially requested. Last year I requested $250,000. Council and RTM approved half. So, you know, that marker was in there for last year for $125,000. We did, you know, quite frankly, not knowing where the economy was going, how much it would cost, going to some chiefs, going to the Chiefs Conference, finding some platforms out there that were, you know, trying to find a price for it. I put a number in for this year of $250,000, knowing full well that it wouldn't cost that much, but we would expect that whatever wasn't spent would go back to the town. Yeah, I was surprised and disappointed that not only did we lose the money this year, but certainly lost the money from that we had worked so hard for last year. So your question is what it would be used for. It would be a multi-purpose vehicle that would be used to support our officers that are out in the field at a crime scene, accident scene, significant event where right now we don't have that ability. You know, I can think of a New Year's Day where we're standing out on 184 at a fatal traffic accident in the cold. The officers don't have the ability to come in to put their evidence away or to input things into a computer. That's what it would be used for, as a mobile command post that we would be. And this isn't. We're not looking for a motorhome. We're not looking for something big. We're looking for something that is equivalent to what you would see the Amazon driver, coming to your house in, that would have a computer terminal, a radio in there. Last year alone, there's been multiple instances of fatal accidents, a homicide a month ago, that significant accident we had on the Gold Star Bridge where we would have fielded this, and it would certainly be at the disposal of our partner agencies should there be a similar set of circumstances where they need it. We don't have it now. Is it something that, would be useful? Absolutely. It's something that I did have the ability to use in my prior law enforcement career with the state police. So I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yeah, just a, sorry, going up, follow-up on that would be if an accident happened, which there has been on state roads, and there's an evaluation which has been done, for example, on certain roads, would there be a state vehicle that would be doing this already?
No.
Okay, so
No, I mean, if it happened on I-95, yes. I mean, the state police handle fatal accidents on the highway, but anything that happens in the town itself, no. I mean, we're partnered with, there are several agencies that are partnered together to do accident reconstruction. We work with representatives from Stonington Police, Ledger Police, and the City of Groton. So we have a collaborative that does work on fatal accidents. For instance, the one that happened not too far from here last summer, where the unfortunate death of a young girl on a motorcycle, you know, we had that reconstruction squad come out for it. But what ends up happening is now we take all this equipment, some of which is at our police station, you know, or in vehicles, and we shuttle it back and forth. You know, that's the
not efficient.
In that particular case, to be quite frank, it was not a good scene, and we are. It may seem a bit unsavory to hear, but sometimes we aren't able to remove individuals from a scene until the medical examiner comes, and we want to provide them with the dignity and respect, and we had to shuttle back and forth equipment just to shield certain areas from public view.
And then one other quick question, does the city have a vehicle? No.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, and other towns, how many other towns have similar vehicles?
Not in our immediate area.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Hanscom?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask and clarify, so if you were to get the 125,000, that still wouldn't be enough to purchase the vehicle, right? You'd still need to get other funds somewhere else, is that correct?
Yeah, we're gonna evaluate our needs. It wouldn't be what we had initially proposed, but we would be able to buy something, yes. You know, one of the examples that I was, before the meeting that I was discussing with Representative Burrill is it would be something where we might have to put additional equipment in it later on, which we would have to find additional pieces of equipment, either used, something like a generator where we would have to buy it out of other funds. But there's probably things that we could make work. Would it be ideal? No, but it's certainly not ideal now, and it would be better than what we don't have.
One other quick follow-up again, because EMS is so coordinated with your department, and when we were in the city, we had to finally designate who would do the R1 response back in 1987 or 92, I think it was. We finally decided the speed of it was the police responded first, but we would eventually move towards getting the volunteer or whoever was paid on the fire departments on both ends of the city to do it. And it finally did get coordinated. Dennis Poppy to become the mayor, and then he coordinated all that. So that was a move in the right direction. With this type of vehicle, what I'm seeing happening is it's like you're not quite there. You're almost there, getting everything top notch with the equipment, but you still need a little bit more. Now the question is with the EMS response, because every time we see an accident, like Pequannock Bridge, for example, the fire engines have to go out, and everybody says to me, why are the fire engines going out? Well, if you have a car fire, you want to make sure you have that part covered. In the town, are all the districts the same for the response one? I don't know if that's the technical name of it now. Or do you have to go on every call?
Yeah, the answer is no. There's 9 fire departments that are in the town, universally throughout Groton. 11 fire districts, 9 fire departments. They all do things a little bit differently. We try to, through the dispatch center, we try to work with those chiefs, and, there's different nuances for different sections of town, so certainly we try to work with them. There may be a little bit of different response with Pequannock Bridge than there is from the city of Groton or from Groton Long Point or Noank or one of those. So there's different variances, and those are all programmed into our dispatch protocols.
That's good. And the reason why I asked that is which I think we should give you some money for this, but I want it justified for everyone to understand that with the EMS coordination, some of the fire departments may have more technology, but they may not. And this is going to coordinate so you can get the equipment that you need, so it's recorded, so there's accuracy, so when you have to justify why there was a fatality, for example, and there's a problem, that you have data.
Yeah, different mission too. You know, the fire service and EMS, when they respond and the problem has been addressed, meaning the fire's put out, the accident's no longer, it's safe, the scene is safe, the injured party's been transported. That's when our work really begins. That's when ours is. So we don't leave at that point in time. You know, you'll see a police officer there, and our fire service is great. The EMS service in Groton is great. They work with us. You know, they're collaborative. They'll help us out whenever they can. But we, you know, our job is evidence collection, interviewing witnesses and victims, seizing evidence. You know, providing an assembly area where all that stuff is going to go, so you can exercise command and control over the scene. So that's where there's a little bit of difference, and certainly that R1 response that you're referring to, you know, they render aid to the people that need aid. They get them to the hospital. They get them to the higher level of care that they need. But that's when our officers are starting to work, and they're going to be out there for hours in some cases processing the scenes or handling the incident.
Thank you for being so thorough in that, and I want to compliment all the EMS and police and fire, because I'll tell you what, this town has excellent services, and trust me, I've had to use some of them, and people that I know have had to use some of them, and when you have multi-things going on in the town, thank God that we have Groton services for that, so thank you.
I would agree. They do a great job.
Representative Massett?
I might have missed something. I thought that what you were talking about was, and for want of a better term, almost something like an RV that would go, not that big, but it would go to the crime scene and be used specifically by the police department. It wouldn't have anything to do with ambulances, fire trucks. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, it could help coordinate that stuff. If we did have a dispatcher at the scene, they could handle that, which is not entirely uncommon, where we would put a dispatcher or a person that would, just for that particular incident, depending on the gravity of it. Okay. But yes, no, it's not, it's independent of fire and EMS.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, Representative Burrill?
Yeah, question, Chief. I know the association between the fire and the EMS and the police. One thing it could be used for would be, like, I'll give an example, is that we had the plane crash quite a few years back into the Quantic River, and we had to have a dispatcher on the scene of that call to help with that. Would also vehicle would also work for something like that too, right?
I remember that well, because I was still working with the state police, and I was at that scene at the day that happened.
Me too.
The houses on fire, and unfortunately we had to recover the occupants of that aircraft. Yeah, that would be something it would be deployed for, absolutely.
Okay.
Town Manager Burt?
I'm not going to speak against the CIP, other than just to mention again, I endorse the council cuts. As I showed in my presentation, about 50% of the population here don't have the funds to handle the cost of living, so I still endorse the cut for this year.
Is there any other discussion on the first amended figure on the floor for 7J CIP?
Just one question.
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Town Manager, we supported the cut, but you also supported the removal of the $125,000 from last year?
Well, what you're doing is not restoring that, though. You're restoring, the council made a decision that I don't want to talk for the council, but generally speaking, that this was probably not going to happen at that kind of cost. We were thinking, certainly. What you're doing is putting back half of the 250. You're not touching the 100. You're just equating it to the 125 from this current year. You're not actually putting that piece back.
Well, I know, but it was actually brought to zero. So in order to bring it back, I had to put in 125.
Yeah, understood. Yeah. Again, for this year, with how much the budget's going up, I endorse holding off.
Any other discussion on the first amended figure? Representative Dean Shinbrot?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just a quick question. Is this something we can hunt around for some grants or do a bake sale or something?
Yeah, well, we've We have tried that. Honestly, that was the first course of action. I even personally called up Congressman Courtney's office to see if there was anything out there. The grants for this type of stuff have kind of gone away, just like I described with the Marine grants, the Marine unit grants, the port security grants. They've kind of been repurposed in other areas. So that grant money that used to exist post 9/11, you know, they were handing out big checks for a lot of stuff, equipment for police, fire, and EMS. Those grants aren't the same as they were. They're really programmed in a different way, and so that, you know, listen, if they were, I wouldn't be coming to ask for it. I wouldn't ask for it. I would have looked to pursue it through other means.
Okay, thank you.
We do a caucus? Sorry.
There's been a request for a caucus.
That's fine.
I mean, I'd really defer to the leader of the party if she wanted to have a caucus.
That's fine, just forget it.
No.
That's fine.
Representative Norman, are you okay with a 5-minute caucus?
5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
5-minute caucus.
All right, I'm gonna give a 5-minute caucus. Please be back in your seats in 5 minutes because I would like to get moving. We have other accounts to consider, please. Thank you. All right, guys, we're back in session after that brief caucus. We're going to move along here to the first amended figure on the floor. Before we call a vote, is there any more discussion on this? All right, we're going to call for a roll call vote on this, if you don't mind.
No worries.
All right, so we can get this down proper.
Is there still 17 needed?
Adam?
We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Rep. Bailey, what's your question, sir?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I guess this is the amended one for 125, is that correct?
Correct. It's the amended figure on the floor. First amended figure, yes, sir. $125,000.
Thank you.
We still have 25 members, which requires 17 votes in the affirmative in order to move the first amended figure. Go ahead. Town Clerk.
Adams?
I'm sorry, no.
Bailey?
No?
Burrell?
Yes.
Casper?
I'm sorry, yes.
Dinshinbrough?
Oh, Chief, I think you're wonderful, but no.
Dutton?
No.
Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Fritchie?
Yes.
Fox?
No.
Gardner?
No.
Gibbs?
No.
Hanscom?
No.
Massett?
No.
McElroy?
No.
Norman?
No.
Perella?
No.
K. Powers?
No.
S. Powers?
Yes.
Pulaski?
No.
Umriz?
No.
V.C. Williams?
No.
Watson?
No.
Wells?
No.
Whitney?
No.
Amboise, yes. I've got 19. I've got 6 in favor, 19 opposed.
1, 2, 3, 4. I have in favor.
I've got Burrell, Casper, Fitzgerald,
Okay,
and
there it is. Yes.
And Fritchie is a yes. And then
So 6.
Powers, S, and myself.
Yes.
Okay, so that motion fails. 6 in favor, 19 opposed, no abstentions. All right, so we're going back to the main number of 0. Is there any other discussion on the main motion on the floor? All right, seeing none, we'll run it back again. Another roll call vote. If we can get started on 7J, main motion 0.
Adams?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes?
Burrell?
No.
Casper?
No.
Dinshinbrough?
Yes.
Dutton?
Yes.
Fitzgerald?
No.
Fritchie?
No.
Fox?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Gibbs?
Yes.
Hanscom?
Yes.
Massett?
Yes.
McElroy?
Yes.
Norman?
Yes.
Perella?
Yes.
K. Powers?
Yes.
S. Powers?
No.
Pulaski?
Yes.
Umritz?
Yes.
V.C. Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it was a yes.
Wells?
Yes.
Whitney?
Yes.
Amboise is a no. 19-6-0.
0.
All right, so 7J, main motion of 0 for that CIP passes. 19 in favor, 6 opposed, no abstentions. Thank you, Chief Rossaro, and thank you to your executive team, your dispatchers, your line officers. We appreciate your service to our town. Thank you. All right. All right. Next up is Groton Long Point Police. It's Cost Center Police. We're going to break this down. It's account 1091. Chair Burrell's going to speak to 1091 Cost Center 100910 Police. I am going to enlighten everyone here. This is the one account that we are going to technically act on. We got to act on 2 others, but those are formalities. This is the one that has a little bit more significance, if I'm saying that correctly. All right. And again, I'd like to welcome the Chief of Groton Long Point Police here. I'm sorry. Can you just give everybody your name and your cohort too, so we can make sure we have that?
My name's Dave Knowles. I'm the chief, and this is Amanda Gallagher, and she's the president of the association.
Thank you, Chief Knowles and President Gallagher. All right, Chair Burrell, if you could just go through your minutes, please, and then we'll accept those minutes as presented tonight from you.
Yeah, account 100901, Groton Long Point Police. A motion was made for $3,057,688.
Oh, hold on, hold on.
That's the city.
Yep, wrong one. I'm sure they'd be thrilled to have that, but we got to go to 1091, okay?
Wrong one. Okay. It's getting late. It's getting late.
Don't give me a heart attack.
Okay.
The other day.
Okay, a motion for $403,500 by Representative Hanson, seconded by Representative Adams. You had to vote in the figure. It was 5 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. This actually is the council's figure, and I believe the manager's figure as well, I believe.
Yeah, let's work on this one first, and then we'll go to the other secondary accounts on this. So if you could just put the motion on the floor for that number, please, Chair Burrell.
Oh, yeah, I got a motion for, what was it, $403,500.
Second.
Okay, can you repeat that number again for me, please?
403,500.
I did not catch the second. Who seconded that? Oh, Adams, hi. All right, thank you. So motion was made for account 100901 Groton Long Point Police, seconded by Adams, and the main motion on the floor is $403,500. For those following along, this is on page 183 of your book, and as the chairman had already stated, this was the number that was approved by the council and then approved by committee. So I open up the floor for discussion on this. Yes, Representative Perella?
I'd like to get some clarification briefly on exactly why that figure was put forth and what positions will be cut or what's going to be taken away. From the chief, if you can.
If you could just kind of
cut or taken away, I don't understand.
So you had a different figure there, 403?
403,500.
Yep, so, okay, so that one's what this means. Okay. Because if somebody wants to put another figure on the floor, I want to know why that one was lower.
To be clear, this Representative Perella, again, it's on the back of our handouts that we were given.
Withdraw that, sorry.
Okay, just to be clear, the town manager number was this number. The police number was approved by the town council and also approved by our committee. So it's the same number that had started during this process. Is there any other discussion on this? Did we lose somebody over there? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got 12 on there. We still got 25. We got a good count. All right, we got a good count. All right, with seeing no other discussion on this main motion on the floor, I'm going to call a vote. All those in favor of 100901 Groton Long Point Police in the amount of $403,500, please say aye.
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 All those
Aye.
opposed, please say no. Are there any abstentions? All right, the motion carries unanimously, 25 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Knowles.
Thank you.
All right, we've got one more to go, and again, yes, you stay. Tag your it. I know. We're gonna switch gears here, okay? And so we're gonna be acting, Chair Burrell, you still have something to say on this one, don't you? Oh, no, this is a whole new account. I'm sorry. Whoa, Public Works. Switcheroos, there's switcheroos everywhere. All right, so again, I'm gonna recognize Chair Dean Shinbrot of the Public Works Committee, who acted upon this with her group for Groton Long Point Roads and Lights.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the meeting started at 5 p.m. and a quorum was declared, and in attendance was myself, Chair Dean Shinbrot, Representative Fox, Gibbs, Stacy Ullman Leach from the Department of Public Works, Greg Hanover, also from the Department of Public Works, Mayor Hedrick, from the City of Groton, Amanda Gallagher, from Groton Long Point, President Glenn, how do you, say it again for me? Lucier, okay, is the Director of Public Works for Groton Long Point, and Bob Charette, also from the Department of Public Works. We had account 109101, the Groton Long Point Highway, and 109102, which was Groton Long Point Lighting. Glenn and Amanda spoke at length about the issue of the flooding in Groton Long Point. The flooding's been extensive this year and needs to be addressed. A study of the flooding, where the sources are, and corrective measures is in this proposed budget. The town council number of 759,533 was moved and approved 4-0. So I would like to put up on the main number 750.
Oh, no, we have, yeah, again, I'm sure they'd be thrilled to get it, but it's 341,000.
Where did I get this from?
It's for account 109101.
It's kind of confusing when you look at the other sheet.
That's,
You did the number that was the full GLP budget number and what you.
okay, I combined the whole thing, okay. So what is my number again?
34100.
34100?
Yeah.
I think, is it 3 zeros?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Did we get a second on that? Thank you,
I have it
Representative
written in
Adams.
my handwritten notes.
Yes, okay. So again, this is account 10910, Groton Long Point Highway. The amount is for $341,000. This was approved at the town council level and also confirmed by the RTM committee. I'm going to give you some background on this. Again, this number is more of a ceremonial passing of a number. We don't have the ability to restore or decrease this number due to previous litigation regarding the rights of subdivisions to propose highway budgets. Okay, so again, this one, along with the next account that we're going to get, is basically a vote that we just have to make. Okay?
Yeah.
Is there any other questions on this? Oh, Representative Whitney.
Yes, I just have a quick question. The flooding problems, has the climate resiliency person at the town been consulted on this or involved?
Yeah, I can answer it. Yes, Glenn Lucier, I'm the Public Works Director. The stormwater system, we did a resiliency plan in 2023. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he's asking if it's been consulted.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, yes, we're working with the town. I've spoken to Greg Hanover many times, and we're trying to, collaborate because they have the same issue in the town of Groton as well.
Great, thank you. I'm going to abstain from this one because we can't, change the number, but thanks for the explanation.
Okay, any other discussion on the main motion on the floor?
Our only option is to vote yes on this? Is that?
You could, again, I'm having flashbacks here, being on 6 terms of the RTM. I've asked the same question, Representative Fox. We need to pass the number. I cannot compel a member to vote yes or no, or as Chair Whitney said, abstains. What is preferred is getting a majority vote so we can move to the next account. It's not my opinion, I'm just saying it as a wonk of history.
How it is.
All right, all these numbers, oh no, we still got the same amount. 25, we got a good count. Okay, so seeing no other hands, I'm gonna call for a vote on item 109101, Groton Long Point Highway. The main motion on the floor is for $341,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. All those opposed, please say no. All those abstaining, please raise your hands on Zoom and raise your hands in the room, please and thank you. We've got Fox, we've got Burrill, and we have Rep. Whitney. 22 to 0 to 3. Okay, so that motion passes. 22 in favor, none opposed, 3 abstentions. Fox, Burrill, and Whitney. Thank you very much. All right, and last but not least.
Our next number is for the lighting, is 109102. And that should be, if I get it right, 418,533. No, oh my gosh. Okay.
Those are some pricey lights.
Well,
I'm thinking see them up in space. All right.
15.
So
okay.
This is it.
15033. Okay. I'd like to move the number $15,033.
Okay, I think that was a second from Massett? No? Oh, okay. Powers. All right. So again, okay, so motion 109102, $15,033. Again, I'm going to go back to my previous statement. This is street lighting. This is one of those that, again, we need to move the budget forward. There's no change on it. I can remember myself sitting in that audience there saying, you could shut my light off under my house, but it doesn't change the number.
I was just going to add, this is really our number, not their number. This is just our cost to fund those lights there. So it's not really something they're asking for. It's just our expense.
Any other discussion on this? Seeing no hands, I am going to call for a vote on 109102 Groton Long Point street lighting. The number is $15,033. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Abstentions, please raise your hand. Whitney? All right, so that passes 24 in favor, none opposed, 1 abstention. Okay? Thank you all this evening for coming. Thank you. We are, we're going to take a recess again.
I need to ask to pass the.
Oh, yes, we gotta do the minutes, and Rep. Burrill, we were not out of order. You still have 1 account to deal with. So we're gonna summarize and approve your minutes when we get to City Groton Police, okay?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as stated so far.
Correct. All right, motion has been moved and seconded by Massett to approve the minutes as presented this evening by the Public Works Chair. Any questions or debate on this issue? Seeing none, we're going to call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say no. Are there any abstentions? Okay, just to be clear, before we get to the recess point, we are back here tomorrow, Wednesday, May 8th. Okay, we have our regular RTM meeting first, then we're going to get right back into the budget session. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 accounts all through finance that we'll have to deal with, okay? So, The regular RTM meeting will start at 6:30 on Wednesday. So just be advised, folks, Districts 4, Districts 5, and District 6 needs to arrive early. So, and 1, we don't have a caucus, though. We don't have a member getting seated for 1. Okay, so it's 4, 5, and 6 that are going to be seating new membership. So if you are in those districts, can you please get here so that we can get those folks appointed and voted in so that they can seat and deliberate with us. If we can get budget books for those folks too, that'd be wonderful. We've got extras. All right. Yeah. Did you have a question, Rep. Brewer? The meeting, the regular RTM meeting, will be at 6:30. Okay. So please be here if you're doing this caucus at somewhere between 6 and 6:15, so we can do the vote, move along. Town clerk can swear them in, and then they can serve. All right. So we're going to recess until May 8th. Without objection, unless there's an objection. All right. See you all on Wednesday. Thank you.